Have you ever felt anger rise so quickly it takes over before you can even think? It happens to all of us. A careless comment, a frustrating delay, or an unexpected setback sets something off deep inside. Suddenly, your chest tightens, your heart races, and before you know it, you've said or done something you regret. Anger is universal, a fire that burns within us all. But what if that fire could be tamed, even extinguished? This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything's fine. It's about finding freedom from the weight of anger, learning to respond with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. For centuries, Buddhist teachings have offered practical wisdom for dealing with emotions like anger. These teachings don't deny the reality of frustration. Instead, they help us see anger as a fleeting visitor, not a permanent resident. With the right tools, you can meet that visitor calmly, without letting it take over your life. Anger, when left unchecked, steals more than just our peace. It harms relationships, clouds judgment, and even takes a toll on the body. It's like carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Over time, the burden grows unbearable. You feel its weight in strained conversations, sleepless nights, and regretful moments. Yet, what's often overlooked is that this stone isn't permanent. You can set it down. You can choose not to carry it anymore. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that anger isn't an enemy. It's a signal. It points to unmet expectations, unspoken fears, or attachments to how we think things should be. By examining these roots, we begin to understand the true source of our frustration. Once we see clearly, anger loses its grip. But this isn't an overnight transformation. It's a journey of small, deliberate steps. Each moment of anger offers a chance to practice, to pause, breathe, and reflect. What is this anger trying to show me? What story am I telling myself about this situation? Asking these questions opens the door to understanding, and understanding is the first step toward change. Anger often feels powerful, but what's truly powerful is mastering your response to it. Strength isn't in yelling louder or holding on to grudges. It's in staying calm when chaos surrounds you. It's in choosing patience over impulsivity, compassion over blame. True strength is the ability to see through anger's illusion and respond with clarity. This isn't to say you won't ever feel anger again. You will. Life is unpredictable, people make mistakes, and challenges arise. But you can change how you experience those moments. Instead of being consumed by anger, you can observe it, understand it, and let it pass. When you begin to live this way, the benefits ripple outward. You'll find relationships improving, your health stabilizing, and your mind growing quieter. Decisions become easier, conversations more meaningful, and conflicts less frequent. You start to experience life as it is, not as anger distorts it to be. This shift doesn't just benefit you, it impacts everyone around you. A calm presence is contagious. When you meet anger with peace, it disarms others. It softens heated moments and builds bridges where walls once stood. Choosing calm over conflict isn't just a personal victory. It's a gift to the people in your life. Anger thrives on misunderstanding and attachment. It grows when we cling to expectations or demand control over the uncontrollable. But life doesn't follow our scripts. The weather changes, people disappoint, plans fall apart. By accepting this reality, by trusting life's natural flow, we rob anger of its fuel. Freedom from anger doesn't mean avoiding challenges or conflicts. It means meeting them with a steady heart and a clear mind. It means seeing difficult moments as opportunities for growth, not triggers for frustration. Each challenge becomes a teacher, showing you where you still have room to grow, where patience can deepen, and where compassion can expand. As you embark on this path, you might find that anger doesn't disappear all at once. It might show up less often, feel less intense, or pass more quickly. These small victories add up. Over time, you'll look back and realize that the person who once reacted with anger now responds with peace. That shift is profound, not just for you, but for everyone in your life. The journey isn't always easy, but it's worth it. Each step brings you closer to freedom, not just freedom from anger, but freedom to live fully, to enjoy life without the weight of resentment, to connect deeply with others without the barriers anger builds, to face challenges with a resilience that no storm can shake. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start. This journey begins here, in this very moment. Each breath, each pause, each decision to let go of anger brings you closer to the life you deserve, a life of calm, clarity, and compassion. The choice is yours. Will you let anger continue to hold you back, or will you take the first step toward breaking free? The path to peace is waiting. All you need to do is begin. Anger is often seen as an uncontrollable force, a storm that sweeps through without warning. Yet, beneath its surface lies a deeper truth. Anger doesn't arise out of nowhere. It has roots, deeply embedded in how we perceive the world and what we expect from it. These roots are often invisible, yet they shape the way we react, intensifying our frustrations and clouding our judgment. Many of us hold tightly to a version of reality shaped by personal desires and unspoken expectations. We believe people should behave a certain way, circumstances should favor us, and life should align with our plans. But life, as it unfolds, is rarely so accommodating. When reality doesn't match the script we've written in our minds, anger steps in as a protest, demanding that the world bend to our will. The problem isn't reality itself, but the stories we create about it. Understanding this opens a door to freedom. By recognizing the patterns of ignorance and misperception that fuel anger, we can begin to see the world as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. This clarity, as taught in Buddhist philosophy, is the first step in dismantling anger's hold over our lives. At its core, ignorance is a lack of understanding, not stupidity, but a misalignment with the truth. One of the greatest misconceptions driving anger is the belief that we control far more than we actually do. People assume that with enough effort, persuasion, or planning, they can force outcomes or alter others' behavior. This belief feeds a constant undercurrent of frustration, as the uncontrollable nature of life inevitably disrupts these efforts. Expectations add another layer to this dynamic. They act as silent agreements we make with the world, often without informing anyone else. When these unspoken contracts are broken, when someone doesn't act as we hoped or situations don't unfold as planned, we feel betrayed. Anger surges, not because the world has wronged us, but because we set ourselves up for disappointment by clinging to expectations that were never guaranteed. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This isn't about resignation or passivity, but cultivating clarity. For example, consider a relationship where anger frequently arises. You might feel hurt because your partner doesn't express affection in the way you prefer. Beneath the anger, there is likely an expectation that love should look a certain way, or that others should meet your needs without you needing to communicate them. When we examine these moments honestly, we often find that our anger stems from an attachment to an idea of how things should be. The problem lies not in the other person's behavior, but in our insistence on a particular outcome. By loosening the grip of these attachments, we create space for understanding and compassion. One way to begin this process is by practicing mindful observation. This means stepping back from immediate reactions and examining them without judgment. When anger arises, ask yourself, what expectation am I holding on to? Is this expectation realistic, or am I projecting my desires onto a situation I cannot control? This simple act of questioning can dissolve much of anger's intensity, allowing room for a calmer response. Ignorance also manifests in how we interpret others' actions. It's easy to assume that people act out of malice or disregard, especially when their behavior causes us pain. However, more often than not, people act out of their struggles, fears, or limited understanding. When someone speaks harshly or acts selfishly, their behavior usually reflects their inner turmoil, not a deliberate attempt to harm us. Recognizing this truth doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it shifts the lens through which we view it. Instead of reacting with anger, we can approach situations with curiosity and compassion, asking ourselves what might be driving the other person's actions. This shift not only reduces our anger, but also opens the door to meaningful communication and resolution. Another critical aspect of anger's root lies in our resistance to impermanence. Life is in constant motion, with people, situations, and circumstances continually changing. Yet, we cling to the illusion of stability, expecting things to remain as they are or as we wish them to be. When change disrupts our expectations, whether through loss, uncertainty, or unexpected events, anger often follows as a form of resistance. Buddhism teaches that accepting impermanence is essential to finding peace. When we embrace the transient nature of life, we stop fighting against what is inevitable. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent. It means learning to flow with change rather than resisting it. For example, when faced with a job loss or a breakup, anger may arise from the belief that such events shouldn't happen. By acknowledging that change is a natural part of existence, we can redirect our energy toward adaptation and growth instead of dwelling in frustration. One of the most profound teachings on anger comes from understanding its fleeting nature. Anger feels powerful in the moment, but it's not permanent. It rises, peaks, and eventually fades. By observing this cycle, we can learn not to act impulsively in the heat of the moment. Instead, we can create a pause, a sacred space where wisdom can intervene before anger takes control. Breathing is a simple yet transformative tool in this process. When anger arises, focusing on the breath anchors us in the present moment, disrupting the mental narratives that fuel frustration. Each inhale and exhale serves as a reminder that emotions, like everything else, come and go. They don't define us unless we allow them to. As we deepen our understanding of anger's roots, it becomes clear that much of its power lies in our resistance to reality. When we fight against what is, we create unnecessary suffering. By aligning ourselves with truth, accepting that we cannot control others, that expectations are not guarantees, and that change is constant, we begin to disarm anger at its source. This path is not about becoming emotionless or detached from life. On the contrary, it's about engaging with life more fully, free from the distortions of anger. It's about seeing situations clearly, responding thoughtfully, and cultivating a sense of inner freedom that cannot be shaken by external events. Through mindfulness, self-reflection, and the willingness to let go of attachments, we reclaim our power. We stop being at the mercy of anger and instead use it as a tool for self-discovery and growth. Each moment of anger becomes an opportunity, a chance to understand ourselves better, to strengthen our patience, and to practice compassion, both for ourselves and others. The roots of anger may run deep, but they are not unchangeable. With awareness and practice, they can be untangled, leaving behind a life that is lighter, clearer, and more aligned with the peace we all seek. Anger loses its grip when we understand its roots. Much of what fuels it is our struggle to make reality fit our expectations, to hold on to ideas of how things should be. Yet, as clarity replaces ignorance and expectations loosen their hold, another truth emerges: the deep, often unspoken desire to control. Control over outcomes, over others, over circumstances. It's this grasping for certainty that often leaves us in a state of tension and frustration. To find peace, the next step is learning to let go. Control is a seductive illusion. It gives a false sense of security, making us believe that with enough effort or strategy, we can shape every detail of our lives. While planning and effort are important, clinging to the idea that everything must go our way sets us up for frustration. Life, in its essence, is unpredictable. Trying to force it into submission only creates resistance, which manifests as stress, disappointment, and often anger. Releasing control begins with acknowledging that most things are beyond our grasp. You might carefully plan a day, but unexpected traffic, sudden weather changes, or someone else's actions can derail it. You might envision a specific path for your career or relationships, yet circumstances shift, people change, and unforeseen challenges arise. These aren't failures. They are reminders of life's dynamic nature. Clinging to control in such moments only deepens the sense of struggle. In Buddhist teachings, the principle of non-attachment is a cornerstone of inner peace. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or passivity. It means engaging fully with life while understanding that outcomes are not ours to dictate. For example, a gardener tends to plants with care, but they cannot force the rain to come or guarantee that every seed will grow. Their role is to nurture, not to control. In the same way, we can give our best to any situation without being bound by the need to control its result. Letting go of control also means trusting the flow of life. Trusting doesn't imply naivety or blind faith. It's an acceptance that life unfolds as it will, regardless of our attempts to micromanage it. Trust allows us to navigate uncertainty with grace rather than fear. It's the understanding that while we cannot control everything, we can always control how we respond. This shift in focus, from external control to internal mastery, fosters resilience and calm. One area where the need for control often surfaces is in relationships. People sometimes try to mold others to fit their expectations, whether through criticism, persuasion, or subtle manipulation. Yet no one likes to feel controlled, and such efforts usually create distance instead of closeness. Letting go in relationships means accepting people as they are, not as we wish them to be. It means recognizing their autonomy and trusting them to make their own choices. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but rather understanding that change, if it comes, must arise from within them, not from our insistence. Control also shows up in how we handle challenges. When faced with difficulties, the instinct is often to fight against them, to resist what is happening. This resistance amplifies suffering. For example, if a job opportunity falls through, clinging to frustration or regret won't change the outcome. Instead, releasing the need to control the situation opens space for new possibilities. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from unnecessary struggle, allowing energy to flow toward constructive actions rather than being wasted on resistance. Another critical aspect of letting go of control is embracing impermanence. Everything in life changes: seasons, relationships, circumstances, even our own thoughts and emotions. Trying to hold on to what is fleeting is like trying to catch water with your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. By embracing the transient nature of life, we stop clinging to what cannot be held and start appreciating the beauty of each moment as it is. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning effort. It means recognizing the balance between action and surrender. Take, for example, an artist painting a masterpiece. They bring skill, intention, and effort to the canvas. But they cannot predict exactly how each stroke will blend. At some point, they must step back, trusting the process and allowing the painting to take its own form. Life is much the same. We act with purpose and intention, but at some point we must release the need to control every detail, trusting the natural flow. One powerful tool for releasing control is mindfulness. Mindfulness grounds us in the present, reminding us that this moment is all we truly have. When we focus on the now, instead of worrying about future outcomes, the urge to control diminishes. For instance, in a tense conversation, staying present allows you to listen fully and respond thoughtfully rather than trying to steer the interaction toward a specific conclusion. Mindfulness transforms control into engagement, freeing you from the exhausting need to dictate every moment. Fear often underlies the desire for control. Fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or loss drives us to hold on tightly. Recognizing this fear is the first step toward releasing it. Fear is not the enemy. It's a signal pointing to areas where trust can grow. Trust in yourself, in others, and in life's inherent wisdom. When fear arises, acknowledge it with compassion rather than resistance. This simple act of acknowledgement weakens fear's grip, making it easier to let go. Letting go of control doesn't mean losing interest in outcomes. It means releasing attachment to them. It's about finding peace in the process, knowing that your efforts are valuable regardless of the result. This perspective frees you from the anxiety of what-if scenarios, allowing you to focus fully on the present. For instance, when preparing for an important presentation, you can give your best effort without being consumed by thoughts of how others will perceive it. This shift creates a sense of freedom and confidence, even in high-stakes situations. Practicing gratitude also helps in releasing control. Gratitude shifts attention from what is lacking or uncertain to what is already present and good. When you focus on what you have rather than what you want to control, the need to grasp lessens. Gratitude anchors you in a mindset of abundance, where letting go feels less like a loss and more like an opening. Life's unpredictability can feel overwhelming, but it can also be liberating. The very fact that we don't control everything means that surprises, growth, and new opportunities are always possible. Letting go of control allows you to embrace life's spontaneity rather than fearing it. It's a mindset that turns the unexpected into a source of wonder rather than frustration. Trusting life's flow requires patience. There will be moments when the urge to control feels almost irresistible. These are opportunities to practice, to remind yourself that peace comes not from grasping, but from releasing. Each time you let go, you strengthen your ability to trust, creating a foundation of inner stability that no external circumstance can shake. Letting go is a lifelong practice, not a one-time decision. But with each step, the burden of control grows lighter, and the path to peace becomes clearer. Trusting the flow of life doesn't mean surrendering your power. It means reclaiming it in the only place it truly exists, within yourself. Letting go of control opens the door to a new way of engaging with life, one that is free from the weight of unnecessary struggle. But even as you loosen your grip on outcomes and embrace impermanence, The world around you doesn't always soften in return. There are moments when anger still arises, driven by provocations, misunderstandings, or lingering attachments. In these moments, silence holds a power that is often overlooked. A power to dissolve tension, reveal truth, and bring clarity where noise once reigned. Silence is not emptiness. It's a space where the chaos of reaction can settle, a pause that creates room for understanding. In a world that constantly demands quick responses and loud opinions, silence feels counterintuitive. Yet, when anger begins to boil, silence becomes a refuge, a shield against the impulsiveness that anger thrives on. It is here, in the stillness, that transformation begins. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness or passivity, but in truth, it requires immense strength. To hold silence when provoked demands restraint, self-awareness, and courage. When anger rises, the instinct is often to lash out, to defend, or to assert control. Words once spoken in anger can cut deeply and linger far longer than the moment of their utterance. Silence interrupts this cycle. It provides the gift of time to observe, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your values rather than your impulses. In moments of anger, silence offers a buffer between emotion and action. Anger moves quickly, urging you to act before you think. But by stepping into silence, you disrupt this momentum. This pause allows you to notice the physical sensations of anger, the tightening chest, the rapid heartbeat, the heat rising in your body. Observing these sensations without judgment creates a space for self-awareness. You begin to see anger not as an uncontrollable force, but as an experience that you can navigate. Silence also exposes the narratives that fuel anger. When provoked, the mind often creates stories to justify the emotion. Stories about who is to blame, why the situation is unfair, or what should have been done differently. These narratives intensify anger, creating a feedback loop that keeps it alive. In silence, these stories lose their grip. Without the energy of spoken words to sustain them, they begin to fade, leaving room for clarity. Silence is not about suppressing anger or avoiding conflict. It's about creating a space where anger can be examined rather than acted upon. This requires patience and practice, as the habit of reacting is deeply ingrained. Each time you choose silence over reaction, you weaken anger's hold and strengthen your ability to respond thoughtfully. Stillness is not only about refraining from speech. It extends to the mind as well. When anger arises, the mind often races, replaying the provocation or imagining worst-case scenarios. This mental noise amplifies the emotion, making it harder to see clearly. In these moments, cultivating inner stillness becomes essential. Practices like mindful breathing or simply focusing on the present moment can quiet the mind, allowing anger to dissipate naturally. In relationships, silence can be transformative. Arguments often escalate because both parties feel the need to defend their position or prove the other wrong. Choosing silence in these moments doesn't mean conceding. It means stepping out of the cycle of conflict. Silence allows you to listen, not just to the words being spoken, but to the emotions beneath them. It creates an opportunity to understand the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. This understanding can de-escalate tension and open the door to meaningful resolution. Silence also fosters humility. Anger often comes with a sense of certainty, a belief that you are right and the other is wrong. In silence, this certainty begins to soften. You realize that your perspective, while valid, is not the only one. This openness to other viewpoints doesn't weaken your position. It enriches it, making you more adaptable and less reactive. In the face of anger, silence can also serve as an act of compassion. Responding with silence when someone else is angry creates space for their emotions to settle. It signals that you are not adding fuel to the fire and that you value the relationship more than the need to win the argument. This doesn't mean tolerating abusive behavior, but it does mean choosing a response that prioritizes understanding over escalation. Silence has the power to heal, not just relationships, but also yourself. When you hold on to anger, it weighs heavily on your mind and body. The act of pausing in silence can release this burden. It reminds you that you don't have to carry the tension forward. Each moment of silence is an invitation to let go, to return to a state of balance and peace. In practical terms, cultivating silence during moments of anger can take many forms. It might mean stepping away from the situation to breathe deeply and regain your composure. It could involve counting to 10 or 100 before speaking. For some, it means journaling their thoughts instead of expressing them immediately. These practices are not about avoiding difficult conversations, but about approaching them from a place of clarity and calm. Silence is also deeply connected to listening, not just to others, but to yourself. In the quiet, you can hear the deeper messages behind your anger. Perhaps it's signaling an unmet need, a boundary that was crossed, or a fear that hasn't been acknowledged. By listening to these messages, you gain insight into your emotions and the actions needed to address them constructively. In the broader context of life, silence teaches us the value of presence. When anger arises, it often pulls us into the past or the future, rehashing old grievances or worrying about what might happen next. Silence anchors us in the present, where anger loses much of its power. In the stillness, you begin to see that this moment, as it is, doesn't require the drama that anger brings. Silence doesn't mean absence. It's not about withdrawing from life or suppressing your voice. Rather, it's about creating a space where anger can dissolve and understanding can grow. It's about choosing peace over noise, clarity over confusion, and wisdom over impulsivity. The practice of silence is a profound act of self-care, one that nurtures your inner world while strengthening your connections with others. In silence, there is power, not the power of domination or control, but the quiet strength of self-mastery. Each moment of stillness is a step toward a life less burdened by anger, a life guided by clarity and compassion. The journey requires patience, but with each pause, each breath, and each choice to hold silence, you move closer to the peace you seek. Silence offers a space for anger to settle, revealing the calm beneath the surface. But what happens next? Once the noise fades, the real work begins. The task of understanding what lies beneath the anger itself. This is where self-reflection becomes invaluable, offering clarity and insight into the emotional triggers that disrupt peace. It's not just about managing emotions in the moment, it's about uncovering their roots, understanding their patterns, and transforming them into opportunities for growth. Anger, like all emotions, doesn't arise out of nowhere. It often masks deeper feelings such as fear, insecurity, or unmet needs. Without self-reflection, these underlying causes remain hidden, leaving anger to resurface again and again. To break this cycle, you need to look inward, asking the difficult but essential questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What does this anger reveal about me? Self-reflection is not about blaming yourself or others. It's about curiosity, a willingness to explore your inner world with honesty and compassion. For example, if anger arises when someone criticizes you, self-reflection might reveal a fear of rejection or a desire for approval. By identifying these deeper emotions, you begin to see that the anger isn't just about the external event, it's tied to your internal landscape. This awareness is the first step in transforming your reactions. One powerful way to practice self-reflection is through journaling. Writing allows you to express emotions without judgment, creating a safe space to explore your thoughts and feelings. When anger arises, take a moment to write down what happened, how you felt, and what you believe triggered the reaction. Over time, patterns may emerge. Specific situations, words, or behaviors that consistently provoke you. Recognizing these patterns gives you the power to address them directly. Self-reflection also involves challenging the narratives that fuel anger. The mind often creates stories to justify emotions, but these stories are not always true. For instance, if someone interrupts you during a conversation, your mind might interpret it as disrespect, fueling anger. Through self-reflection, you can question this assumption. Was the interruption intentional, or was it a misunderstanding? Could there be another explanation? By examining the story critically, you begin to see the situation more clearly, reducing anger's intensity. Understanding your triggers is a key part of self-reflection. Triggers are not inherently bad. They are opportunities for growth. Each time a trigger arises, it points to an area where healing or change is needed. For example, if you find yourself angered by traffic delays, the deeper issue might be impatience or an unrealistic expectation of control. Reflecting on these triggers helps you identify areas where you can develop patience, flexibility, or acceptance. Self-reflection is also a practice of accountability. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances for anger, but true growth comes from acknowledging your role in the equation. This doesn't mean taking blame for everything. It means recognizing how your choices, perceptions, and expectations contribute to your emotions. For example, if a colleague's behavior frustrates you, self-reflection might reveal that your own unmet expectations are amplifying the frustration. By shifting focus to what you can control, your own perspective, you regain power over the situation. Mindfulness enhances self-reflection by grounding you in the present moment. When anger arises, mindfulness allows you to observe it without judgment, creating space to reflect before reacting. Instead of being swept away by the emotion, you can pause and ask, what is this anger teaching me? What do I need in this moment? These questions shift the focus from external blame to internal understanding, fostering emotional growth. Self-reflection also requires self-compassion. As you explore your triggers and patterns, you may uncover parts of yourself that feel vulnerable or flawed. It's important to approach these discoveries with kindness, recognizing that everyone has areas for growth. Instead of judging yourself for feeling anger, acknowledge it as a natural human emotion and an opportunity to learn. This compassionate approach makes self-reflection a safe and empowering practice. In relationships, self-reflection plays a crucial role in reducing conflict. When disagreements arise, it's easy to focus on the other person's faults or actions, but self-reflection asks you to turn inward. What am I contributing to this conflict? How are my assumptions or expectations shaping my reaction? By addressing your own role in the dynamic, you create space for understanding and resolution. Practicing gratitude alongside self-reflection can further transform anger. Gratitude shifts focus from what is lacking or wrong to what is present and good. For instance, if anger arises from a perceived slight, reflecting on what you appreciate about the person or situation can soften the emotion. Gratitude doesn't negate the need to address issues, but it provides a balanced perspective that prevents anger from taking over. Self-reflection also helps you align your actions with your values. Anger often leads to impulsive reactions that don't reflect your true intentions. By pausing to reflect, you can choose responses that align with your principles, fostering integrity and emotional clarity. For example, if anger tempts you to lash out, self-reflection can guide you to express your feelings assertively rather than aggressively, preserving both your values and your relationships. One of the most transformative aspects of self-reflection is its ability to reveal hidden strengths. Anger often feels like a weakness, but through reflection, you can uncover the resilience, patience, or courage it takes to navigate difficult emotions. Recognizing these strengths not only reduces anger's power, but also builds confidence in your ability to handle challenges constructively. Self-reflection is a lifelong practice. It doesn't eliminate anger entirely, but it changes your relationship with it. Each moment of reflection brings greater understanding, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger over time. The process requires patience, but the rewards are profound. A deeper connection with yourself, healthier relationships, and a sense of inner peace that can withstand life's challenges. By embracing self-reflection, you transform anger from an obstacle into a teacher. It becomes a pathway to self-awareness, emotional growth, and lasting peace. A superpower that allows you to navigate life with clarity and compassion. The journey inward may not always be easy, but it is always worth it, offering insights and strengths that shape not only how you manage anger, but also how you live. Self-reflection teaches us to navigate our emotions with clarity, uncovering the roots of anger and transforming it into a tool for growth. But even as you build this awareness, the world continues to test your boundaries. Criticism, negativity, and external judgments creep in, threatening the inner peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. This is where mastering detachment becomes essential, a skill that allows you to face negativity with strength, clarity, and resilience, freeing you from its grip. Detachment is not about indifference or avoiding challenges. It's about creating a buffer between your inner self and the external world. It's the realization that while you cannot control what others say or do, you can always control how you respond. By mastering detachment, you build a fortress within where external negativity cannot easily penetrate. Criticism is one of the most common triggers for emotional distress. Whether it comes from loved ones, colleagues, or strangers, it often stings because it touches on insecurities or unmet expectations. Detachment allows you to view criticism objectively, separating the words from the emotions they evoke. This begins with asking yourself, is this criticism constructive or simply a projection of someone else's frustration? By detaching from the immediate emotional reaction, you can assess whether the feedback holds value or is something to be dismissed. When negativity arises, it's easy to internalize it, believing it reflects your worth. Detachment reminds you that other people's words or actions are often more about them than about you. A harsh comment may stem from their stress, fear, or unhappiness, rather than a true assessment of who you are. Recognizing this helps you let go of the need to take things personally, reducing the power negativity has over you. Detachment also involves understanding the impermanence of emotions. Just as anger rises and falls, so too does the pain caused by criticism or negativity. When you resist the urge to react immediately, you allow these emotions to pass naturally. This patience creates space for clarity and prevents the escalation of conflict. Another important aspect of detachment is letting go of the need for external validation. Many people derive their sense of worth from how others perceive them, making them vulnerable to criticism and negativity. Detachment teaches you to find your value within, independent of external opinions. This inner strength acts as an anchor, keeping you steady even when faced with negativity. Practicing detachment doesn't mean isolating yourself or avoiding relationships. It's about engaging with others from a place of self-assurance, rather than seeking approval or fearing rejection. For example, when a friend's comment feels hurtful, detachment allows you to address the issue calmly rather than reacting defensively. This creates healthier dynamics as you approach interactions with clarity and compassion rather than emotional reactivity. One way to cultivate detachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches you to observe thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. When faced with negativity, mindfulness allows you to pause and assess your response, rather than being swept away by immediate reactions. This practice strengthens your ability to remain calm and focused, even in challenging situations. Boundaries are another essential element of detachment. Without clear boundaries, negativity from others can seep into your inner world, eroding your peace. Detachment involves recognizing when to step back, when to say no, and when to prioritize your well-being over others' demands or judgments. These boundaries are not walls, but guides that protect your inner strength while allowing meaningful connections. Detachment also involves releasing the need to change others. People often respond to negativity by trying to fix or control the source, whether it's a critical coworker, a pessimistic friend, or a judgmental family member. But detachment recognizes that you cannot change someone else's behavior. You can only control how you engage with it. By accepting this, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to force change and focus instead on maintaining your own peace. Self-worth is a cornerstone of detachment. When you know your value, external negativity loses its ability to shake you. Cultivating self-worth involves acknowledging your strengths, embracing your imperfections, and treating yourself with kindness. This inner confidence acts as a shield, protecting you from the harmful effects of criticism and negativity. Gratitude is another powerful tool for mastering detachment. Focusing on what is positive in your life shifts attention away from negativity, reducing its impact. For instance, if a co-worker's criticism feels overwhelming, reflecting on the aspects of your work that you're proud of can help you regain perspective. Gratitude reminds you that negativity is just one part of a larger, more balanced picture. Detachment also means accepting that not everyone will understand or appreciate you. Seeking universal approval is a futile endeavor, as people's perceptions are shaped by their own experiences, biases, and expectations. Detachment frees you from the burden of trying to please everyone, allowing you to focus on living authentically and in alignment with your values. In moments of conflict, detachment encourages you to choose understanding over reaction. When someone lashes out, their behavior often reflects their inner struggles rather than a deliberate attempt to harm you. By detaching from the personal impact of their words, you can respond with empathy instead of anger. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but rather addressing it from a place of strength and clarity. Detachment is not a destination, but a practice. Each time you encounter negativity, you have an opportunity to strengthen this skill. Over time, it becomes second nature, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. The more you detach from external negativity, the more space you create for inner peace and self-growth. Mastering detachment is a journey of empowerment. It transforms how you interact with the world, shifting your focus from what you cannot control to what you can. By freeing yourself from the grip of criticism and negativity, you open the door to a life guided by confidence, clarity, and unwavering self-worth. This is not about distancing yourself from others, but about strengthening your connection to yourself, creating a foundation of inner strength that no external force can shake. Detachment frees you from the weight of external negativity, building an inner resilience that shields your peace. But even with this strength, life's moments can still provoke anger, often catching you off guard. These moments, however fleeting, hold the power to disrupt your calm and challenge your growth. Mindfulness steps in here, not as a cure to remove anger, but as a transformative practice to meet it differently. By being present, anger can be reshaped into understanding, and frustration can give way to compassion. Mindfulness begins with awareness. Anger is often accompanied by a whirlwind of thoughts, a cascade of physical sensations, and an urge to react. Without mindfulness, these experiences spiral into actions or words that deepen the conflict or leave regret in their wake. With mindfulness, you pause, observe, and create space between the stimulus and your response. This space is where choice lives, the choice to act with clarity instead of being driven by raw emotion. The practice of mindfulness invites you to anchor yourself in the present moment, where anger's grip begins to loosen. Anger thrives on mental narratives, stories of what should have happened, what someone should have said, or how you've been wronged. These stories fuel the intensity of emotion, often exaggerating the actual event. Mindfulness interrupts this pattern by shifting focus from the mind's stories to the reality of the moment. By paying attention to your breath, the sensations in your body, or the environment around you, you step out of the cycle of mental replay and into the clarity of now. When anger arises, it is often tied to a sense of injustice or unmet expectations. Mindfulness helps you see these attachments without being consumed by them. Instead of clinging to what should be, mindfulness encourages acceptance of what is. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior or dismissing legitimate concerns. Rather, it means acknowledging reality as it stands, without the added layer of resistance that anger creates. In this space of acceptance, solutions become clearer and responses become more constructive. Mindfulness also cultivates self-awareness, which is key to understanding anger's roots. When anger flares, it's easy to blame external triggers, but mindfulness invites you to look inward. What unmet need is being reflected in this anger? What fear or vulnerability is driving this reaction? By gently exploring these questions, you begin to unravel the deeper layers of emotion, shifting your focus from the external trigger to your internal experience. This shift not only diffuses anger, but also fosters emotional growth. Practicing mindfulness doesn't require elaborate rituals. It can be as simple as taking a deep breath before speaking or pausing for a moment before reacting. These small acts of presence ground you in the moment, preventing anger from hijacking your actions. Over time, these practices build a habit of mindfulness that extends beyond moments of anger, enriching your daily life with greater awareness and calm. Mindfulness also transforms the relationship between anger and the body. Anger often manifests physically: tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, a racing heartbeat. These sensations can feel overwhelming, but mindfulness encourages you to approach them with curiosity instead of resistance. By observing these sensations without judgment, you create a sense of detachment from the emotion itself. This detachment doesn't suppress the anger. It allows it to move through you without taking control. One powerful aspect of mindfulness is its ability to foster compassion. When you practice being present, you become more attuned to the emotions of others, even in moments of conflict. For instance, if someone's words trigger anger, mindfulness helps you pause and consider their perspective. Are they acting out of their own pain or misunderstanding? This shift from judgment to curiosity not only reduces anger, but also creates opportunities for deeper connection and empathy. Mindfulness also helps break the cycle of reactive thinking. Anger often feeds on patterns, repeated thoughts and assumptions that keep the emotion alive. For example, if a colleague's criticism stings, the mind might replay the event, imagining scenarios that heighten the initial hurt. Mindfulness disrupts this cycle by redirecting attention to the present, reminding you that the moment of criticism is over and no longer holds power unless you let it. As mindfulness deepens, it becomes a tool for understanding impermanence. Anger, like all emotions, is transient. It rises, peaks, and eventually fades. When you observe anger mindfully, you begin to see it as a passing wave rather than a permanent state. This awareness reduces the urgency to react, allowing you to ride the wave of emotion without being swept away. Mindfulness also encourages gratitude, which is a powerful counterbalance to anger. Focusing on what you appreciate in the present moment shifts attention away from what is frustrating. For instance, if a family member's actions provoke anger, mindfulness can guide you to reflect on the positive aspects of the relationship. This doesn't ignore the issue at hand, but frames it within a broader perspective, softening the intensity of the emotion. One of the most profound effects of mindfulness is its ability to transform habitual reactions. Anger often follows predictable patterns, rooted in long-standing habits. By practicing mindfulness consistently, you become more aware of these patterns and gain the ability to choose a different response. For example, instead of snapping in frustration, mindfulness might guide you to express your feelings calmly or to step back and reassess the situation. Mindfulness is not about eliminating anger, but about changing how you relate to it. It's about seeing anger as an experience to be explored rather than an enemy to be fought. This shift in perspective empowers you to meet life's challenges with clarity and compassion, transforming anger from a source of conflict into an opportunity for growth. The practice of mindfulness is accessible to everyone, regardless of experience or circumstance. Whether through formal meditation, mindful breathing, or simply paying attention to your daily activities, each moment of mindfulness strengthens your ability to navigate anger with grace. Over time, this practice becomes a foundation for a life of greater peace, resilience, and understanding. Understanding the roots of anger and practicing mindfulness allows us to step back from emotional reactivity. But there's an even deeper practice that can dissolve anger at its core: gratitude. When frustration narrows the mind and focuses only on what is lacking or wrong, gratitude expands perspective, revealing the abundance that exists even in the midst of challenges. This isn't about forced positivity or ignoring difficulties. It's about redirecting attention to what uplifts and sustains you, rather than what pulls you down. Gratitude has a unique power to shift the emotional landscape because it operates on a level that anger cannot reach. While anger thrives on blame, resentment, and unmet expectations, gratitude thrives on connection, appreciation, and contentment. The two emotions cannot coexist fully. As gratitude grows, anger begins to lose its hold. When anger arises, it often feels justified. Someone has wronged you, or circumstances have fallen short of your expectations. Gratitude doesn't dismiss these feelings, but offers an alternative focus. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, gratitude invites you to look at what remains steady, what continues to nurture you, and what has brought you to this moment. This shift in focus doesn't invalidate your frustrations. It simply places them within a broader context where they lose their overwhelming intensity. One way gratitude helps dissolve anger is by reframing the situation. For example, if someone's words upset you, gratitude encourages you to reflect on what their relationship has brought into your life overall. Perhaps they've been a source of support or kindness in the past. This broader view doesn't erase the hurtful moment, but allows you to see it as a small part of a larger story. Gratitude reminds you that relationships are complex and that moments of frustration do not define them entirely. Gratitude also shifts your internal dialogue. Anger often fuels an inner narrative of scarcity or injustice. Thoughts like, "This isn't fair," or "I don't deserve this." Gratitude replaces this narrative with one of abundance and sufficiency. It might remind you of the many ways life has supported you, the unexpected joys you've experienced, or the lessons you've learned, even from difficult situations. This perspective doesn't deny the challenges, but balances them with an acknowledgement of the good. Practicing gratitude can also soften the ego, which is often deeply tied to anger. The ego seeks validation and control, and when these are threatened, anger flares up. Gratitude, on the other hand, invites humility. It asks you to recognize the contributions of others, the interdependence of life, and the ways in which you have been supported. This humility diffuses the ego's need to defend itself, making anger less likely to arise. Another profound way gratitude dissolves anger is by fostering forgiveness. Holding on to anger often involves clinging to a sense of being wronged, a refusal to let go of the hurt. Gratitude shifts the focus from the wrong to the larger picture, helping you see the humanity in the other person. For example, reflecting on the good moments in a strained relationship can create space for forgiveness, not as an obligation, but as a natural outgrowth of seeing the whole person rather than just their mistakes. Gratitude also acts as a buffer against the comparisons that often lead to anger. When you compare your situation to someone else's perceived advantage, resentment can take root. Gratitude interrupts this pattern by grounding you in what is uniquely yours. Instead of focusing on what someone else has, gratitude helps you see the value in your own journey, your own strengths, and the unique blessings of your life. This practice is not limited to reflection. It can be cultivated actively through small, intentional acts. Writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day trains your mind to notice positives, even during difficult times. Expressing gratitude to others, whether through a kind word, a note, or a small gesture, reinforces the connection that anger seeks to sever. These practices build a foundation of appreciation that makes it harder for anger to take hold. Gratitude also fosters resilience by reminding you of your ability to overcome challenges. When anger arises from a setback or obstacle, gratitude shifts the focus from the difficulty to your capacity to endure. Reflecting on past hardships and how you navigated them strengthens your confidence in facing current frustrations. This resilience doesn't eliminate the source of anger, but gives you the strength to respond constructively. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is its ability to ground you in the present moment. Anger often pulls you into the past, replaying old grievances, or pushes you into the future, worrying about what might happen. Gratitude anchors you in the now, where you can fully appreciate the beauty, stability, or joy available in this moment. This presence dissolves the mental spirals that anger thrives on, replacing them with a sense of peace. Gratitude also cultivates empathy, which is a natural antidote to anger. When you focus on what you're grateful for, it becomes easier to extend understanding to others, even in moments of conflict. For instance, If a co-worker's actions provoke frustration, gratitude might remind you of their strengths or contributions, making it easier to approach the situation with empathy rather than resentment. This shift fosters connection and reduces the likelihood of prolonged anger. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is how it changes your relationship with yourself. Anger often arises from self-criticism, feelings of inadequacy, or unmet expectations. Gratitude redirects this energy by helping you recognize your own strengths, achievements, and worth. By appreciating yourself, you create a foundation of self-compassion that makes it harder for anger to take root. Gratitude is not about denying the reality of pain or injustice. It's about choosing where to focus your energy and attention. By emphasizing what uplifts rather than what drains, gratitude empowers you to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and strength. This practice doesn't mean ignoring problems, but approaching them from a place of abundance rather than lack. In moments of anger, gratitude offers a lifeline, a way to pause, redirect, and transform the emotion. It reminds you that even when things feel difficult, there is still much to appreciate, much to hold on to, and much to celebrate. By embracing gratitude, you create a space where anger loses its power, replaced by a sense of connection, contentment, and peace. This shift, though subtle at first, builds over time, creating a life less burdened by frustration and more enriched by joy. Gratitude softens the edges of anger by shifting focus to what uplifts and sustains, creating a foundation of appreciation. Yet, as you build this perspective, the question arises, how do you extend this transformation to your interactions with others? This is where compassion comes in, a practice that not only reshapes how you view others, but also how you treat yourself. Compassion has the power to dissolve anger at its root, replacing frustration with understanding and resentment with connection. At its core, compassion is about recognizing the shared human experience. Everyone faces struggles, fears, and insecurities, even if they're not immediately visible. When anger arises in response to someone's words or actions, compassion invites you to consider what might be driving their behavior. This isn't about excusing harm, but about looking deeper, beyond the surface, to see the pain or misunderstanding that often fuels negativity. Compassion begins with curiosity. When someone's actions provoke anger, instead of reacting impulsively, pause to ask, what might they be experiencing that led them to act this way? This question shifts your focus from judgment to inquiry, opening the door to understanding. For example, a harsh comment from a colleague might stem from their own stress or insecurity. Recognizing this doesn't mean tolerating unkindness, but allows you to respond with empathy rather than retaliation. Self-compassion is equally essential in transforming anger. Often, anger directed outward mirrors anger directed inward, feelings of inadequacy, failure, or unmet expectations. By cultivating kindness toward yourself, you create a foundation of emotional stability that makes it easier to extend compassion to others. This starts with acknowledging your own struggles without judgment, treating yourself with the same care you would offer a friend. Practicing self-compassion involves recognizing that mistakes and setbacks are a natural part of life. Anger often arises when you hold yourself to impossible standards, expecting perfection in every situation. Compassion reminds you that imperfection is not a failure, but a reflection of your humanity. By releasing harsh self-criticism, you free up emotional energy that can be directed toward understanding and connection. Compassion also requires active listening, both to yourself and others. When anger arises in a conversation, it's often because both parties feel unheard or misunderstood. By choosing to truly listen, without interrupting, judging, or planning your response, you create space for clarity and connection. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything the other person says, but respecting their perspective enough to hear it fully. In doing so, you demonstrate the compassion you seek to cultivate. One powerful way to foster compassion is through perspective-taking. This involves stepping into someone else's shoes, not to justify their behavior, but to understand it. For example, if a friend's actions hurt you, consider what they might be going through that influenced their choices. This shift from blame to understanding doesn't excuse harm, but reframes it within a context of shared humanity. Compassion also transforms the way you view anger itself. Instead of seeing anger as an enemy, compassion recognizes it as a signal, a message that something needs attention, whether within yourself or in your relationships. By approaching anger with curiosity rather than resistance, you can uncover its underlying causes and address them constructively. This compassionate approach turns anger into an opportunity for growth and healing. Forgiveness is another essential aspect of compassion. Holding on to anger often involves clinging to a sense of being wronged, which creates emotional barriers. Compassion doesn't demand that you forget or condone harmful actions, but encourages you to release the hold they have on your peace. Forgiveness, rooted in compassion, allows you to let go of resentment and move forward without the weight of unresolved anger. Compassion also challenges the narratives anger creates. When you're upset, the mind often spins stories about the other person's intentions or character, reinforcing your frustration. Compassion disrupts this cycle by inviting you to question these assumptions. Are you interpreting their actions accurately, or are you projecting your own fears and insecurities onto them? By examining these narratives with compassion, you can replace judgment with understanding. Another powerful tool for cultivating compassion is gratitude. By focusing on what you appreciate about someone, even in moments of conflict, you create a more balanced perspective. This doesn't mean ignoring the issue, but acknowledging the positive qualities that coexist alongside the frustration. Gratitude and compassion together create a foundation for addressing conflicts constructively, rather than letting anger take over. Compassion also fosters patience, which is essential in managing anger. People don't always act as we expect or hope, and their growth often takes time. Compassion reminds you that everyone is on their own journey, facing challenges you may not see. This perspective helps you approach difficult moments with patience, allowing space for change and understanding rather than reacting impulsively. Self-awareness is another key to compassion. When anger arises, it's often because someone's actions trigger an unresolved issue within you. Compassionate self-reflection allows you to explore these triggers, uncovering their roots and addressing them directly. This inner work not only reduces your reactivity, but also enhances your ability to extend compassion to others. In practice, compassion requires consistency. It's not a one-time decision, but a habit built through intentional choices. Each time you choose compassion over anger, you strengthen this habit, making it easier to respond with understanding in the future. Over time, compassion becomes a natural response, transforming your relationships and your inner world. Compassion doesn't eliminate anger entirely, but changes your relationship with it. It turns anger into a signal, a teacher, and an opportunity for growth. By cultivating compassion for yourself and others, you dissolve the barriers that anger creates, replacing them with connection, understanding, and peace. This practice, though challenging at times, offers profound rewards. A life guided by empathy, resilience, and the deep satisfaction of living in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Compassion allows us to dissolve anger by understanding the struggles behind actions, our own and others. However, even with a compassionate mindset, life presents moments where anger arises swiftly, tempting us to react impulsively. The question becomes, how can we break this cycle? How can we transform reactive moments into opportunities for thoughtful, constructive responses? This requires not only awareness, but a deliberate effort to choose actions that align with our values and bring clarity to the chaos. Anger often acts as an emotional reflex, bypassing rational thought. A harsh word, a perceived slight, or an unexpected setback can trigger an automatic response. Breaking this pattern starts with recognizing that while anger may be immediate, your response doesn't have to be. The pause between stimulus and reaction is a powerful space, one where clarity, patience, and thoughtful action can take root. The first step in breaking the cycle is mastering the art of the pause. When anger flares, the instinct is often to act or speak without thinking. Instead, intentionally pause to ground yourself in the present moment. This doesn't require elaborate techniques. It can be as simple as taking a deep breath or counting to 10. This brief pause creates a buffer, allowing the initial surge of emotion to subside so you can assess the situation more clearly. During the pause, redirect your attention to the physical sensations of anger. Notice the tension in your muscles, the quickening of your breath, or the heat in your body. Observing these sensations without judgment helps anchor you in the present moment, disrupting the spiral of reactive thoughts. By focusing on the body, you shift energy away from the mental narratives that often amplify anger, creating space for a more balanced response. Once the immediate intensity of anger has lessened, it's essential to explore the emotion itself. Anger is often a secondary emotion, masking deeper feelings like fear, hurt, or frustration. By identifying the root cause of your anger, you gain insight into what truly needs attention. For instance, if a colleague's comment upsets you, ask yourself, is the anger rooted in their words, or does it stem from a deeper insecurity or unmet need? This self-inquiry transforms anger from a reactive force into a source of understanding. Breaking the cycle of anger also involves shifting your perspective. Anger narrows focus, fixating on what's wrong or unjust. To counter this, practice broadening your view. Ask yourself, what is the bigger picture? How significant is this moment in the context of my life? This perspective shift reduces the emotional weight of the situation, making it easier to respond constructively. Empathy plays a crucial role in replacing reactive anger with thoughtful responses. When someone's actions provoke you, it's tempting to assign malicious intent. Instead, consider what might be motivating their behavior. Are they acting out of stress, misunderstanding, or their own unresolved issues? This doesn't excuse harmful actions, but reframes them in a way that reduces your anger's intensity. Responding with empathy not only diffuses conflict, but also opens the door to meaningful communication. Another technique for breaking the cycle is reframing the situation. Anger often arises from how we interpret events rather than the events themselves. For instance, if someone interrupts you, your initial reaction might be anger at their perceived disrespect. Reframing invites you to consider alternative explanations. Perhaps they were excited to contribute or unaware of the interruption. This shift in interpretation softens anger, paving the way for a calmer response. Setting clear boundaries is also essential in managing anger constructively. Many instances of anger stem from unmet expectations or repeated frustrations. By communicating your needs and limits clearly, you reduce the likelihood of these triggers. For example, if a friend's tardiness consistently frustrates you, expressing how it affects you in a calm, respectful manner can prevent future misunderstandings. Boundaries aren't about controlling others, but about protecting your own peace. Practicing assertive communication is another valuable tool. When anger arises, the temptation is often to lash out or suppress your feelings entirely. Neither approach fosters resolution. Assertive communication strikes a balance, allowing you to express your emotions honestly while respecting the other person. For instance, instead of saying, "You always ignore me," assertive communication reframes this as, "I feel hurt when my concerns aren't acknowledged." This approach invites dialogue rather than defensiveness. Breaking the cycle of anger also requires cultivating patience. Reactivity thrives on urgency, the need to respond immediately, to assert control. Patience reminds you that not every situation demands an instant reaction. By delaying your response, you allow emotions to settle and clarity to emerge. This doesn't mean avoiding issues, but addressing them with a calm, considered approach. Engaging in mindfulness practices strengthens your ability to respond thoughtfully. Mindfulness teaches you to observe emotions without becoming entangled in them. When anger arises, mindfulness allows you to step back and view the emotion as a passing experience rather than a defining force. This detachment doesn't suppress anger, but creates space for intentional responses. Physical activity can also be a powerful way to break the cycle of anger. Anger generates energy in the body, which, if unaddressed, can fuel impulsive actions. Channeling this energy into movement, whether through a walk, a workout, or even deep breathing exercises, helps release tension, making it easier to approach the situation with a clear mind. Reflecting on your values is another way to guide constructive responses. Anger often tempts you to act in ways that conflict with your principles. By pausing to consider your values, kindness, integrity, or patience, you align your actions with your deeper intentions. This alignment not only reduces regret, but also reinforces your sense of self-respect. Gratitude can also play a role in transforming anger into constructive action. When anger narrows your focus to what's wrong, gratitude broadens it to include what's right. Reflecting on the positives in a challenging situation doesn't negate the issue, but provides a balanced perspective. This balance reduces the emotional charge of anger, making it easier to respond thoughtfully. Breaking the cycle of anger is not about suppressing the emotion, but about channeling it effectively. Anger often signals a need for change, whether in a situation, a relationship, or within yourself. By approaching anger with curiosity and intention, you transform it from a reactive force into a catalyst for growth. Each moment of anger becomes an opportunity to practice self-awareness, empathy, and resilience. Constructive responses to anger also require consistency. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural they become. Over time, thoughtful responses replace impulsive reactions, creating a foundation of emotional stability and clarity. This practice doesn't eliminate anger, but changes how it manifests in your life, turning it into a tool for understanding rather than division. The journey of breaking the cycle of anger is one of self-mastery. It requires patience, effort, and a commitment to growth. But with each thoughtful response, you strengthen your ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and integrity, creating relationships and experiences rooted in understanding and peace. This transformation isn't just about managing anger. It's about reclaiming your power to choose how you engage with the world. Constructive responses to anger pave the way for greater understanding, But even the most thoughtful actions can feel incomplete when resentment lingers. Anger that clings to past hurts creates a heavy emotional burden, chaining you to moments that no longer serve your growth. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing. It's about releasing the grip of resentment so you can reclaim your peace and freedom. It's a profound act of self-liberation, offering relief from the emotional weight of anger and paving the way for inner tranquility. Forgiveness begins with a decision, a conscious choice to let go of the anger and resentment that bind you to the past. This decision does not invalidate your pain or deny the wrongdoing. It simply acknowledges that holding on to resentment harms you more than it does the other person. Resentment acts like a poison, seeping into your thoughts, affecting your relationships, and preventing you from fully embracing the present. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is like setting down a heavy load, freeing your mind and heart to focus on what truly matters. Letting go of resentment requires understanding that forgiveness is primarily for your benefit, not the other person's. It's easy to think that withholding forgiveness punishes the person who wronged you, but in reality, it keeps you tethered to the pain they caused. Forgiveness severs this connection, allowing you to heal and move forward without carrying the emotional scars into the future. The process of forgiveness often begins with self-reflection. Anger and resentment are natural responses to being hurt, but holding on to them perpetuates the pain. Reflecting on why forgiveness feels difficult can uncover the deeper emotions behind the resentment. Are you afraid that forgiving will make you vulnerable to future harm? Do you believe that forgiveness means condoning the wrongdoing? By exploring these fears and beliefs, you can begin to reshape your understanding of forgiveness as an act of strength, not weakness. Compassion plays a crucial role in the act of forgiveness. When someone causes harm, their actions often stem from their own pain, insecurities, or misunderstandings. This doesn't excuse the harm, but provides context that can soften the edges of your anger. Compassion allows you to see the humanity in the other person, recognizing that they, too, are navigating struggles and imperfections. This perspective makes it easier to release resentment and focus on your own healing. Forgiveness also requires self-compassion, particularly when the anger is directed inward. Self-forgiveness can be one of the most challenging forms of forgiveness, as it involves confronting your own mistakes, regrets, or perceived failures. Holding on to self-directed anger creates a cycle of shame and guilt that hinders personal growth. By acknowledging your humanity and treating yourself with kindness, you create a space for healing and self-acceptance. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean ignoring accountability. It means recognizing that growth often comes through mistakes. When you view your actions through the lens of learning rather than condemnation, self-forgiveness becomes an opportunity for transformation. This shift in perspective allows you to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and confidence. Practicing forgiveness also involves setting boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing others to continue causing harm. It's about releasing the emotional hold their actions have on you while taking steps to protect yourself. For instance, forgiving someone who betrayed your trust doesn't require reconciling with them. It simply means letting go of the anger that keeps you tied to the betrayal. Boundaries ensure that forgiveness supports your well-being rather than enabling further harm. Forgiveness is often a gradual process rather than a single moment. It may involve revisiting the pain, acknowledging its impact, and consciously choosing to release it over time. Some days, forgiveness may feel easier than others, but consistency in the practice deepens its effects. Each small step toward forgiveness lightens the emotional load, creating a sense of freedom and inner peace. Gratitude can aid in the process of forgiveness by shifting your focus from the pain of the past to the positives of the present. Reflecting on what you've learned or gained through difficult experiences can transform resentment into appreciation for your resilience and growth. Gratitude doesn't minimize the harm, but provides a broader perspective that makes forgiveness more accessible. Forgiveness also involves releasing expectations. Often, anger and resentment persist because you hold on to the hope that the other person will apologize, change their behavior, or acknowledge the harm they caused. While these outcomes may occur, they are beyond your control. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your power by letting go of these expectations and focusing on your own healing. Forgiving others doesn't mean forgetting what happened. The memory of the event may remain, but forgiveness changes how you relate to it. Instead of being a source of pain or anger, the memory becomes a marker of your growth and strength. This transformation shifts your focus from the harm to the healing, reinforcing the peace that forgiveness brings. Forgiveness can also improve relationships, even if reconciliation isn't possible. Letting go of resentment clears the emotional barriers that hinder genuine connection. In cases where reconciliation is desired, forgiveness creates a foundation for rebuilding trust and understanding. Even in situations where the relationship cannot or should not be restored, forgiveness ensures that the hurt no longer defines your interactions or your sense of self. Forgiveness isn't just about interpersonal relationships. It extends to how you view the world. Holding on to anger towards situations, systems, or circumstances beyond your control creates a sense of powerlessness and frustration. By practicing forgiveness on a broader scale, you free yourself from the emotional toll of anger and focus on what you can influence. This shift empowers you to engage with challenges constructively rather than reactively. The act of forgiveness also fosters resilience. Each time you forgive, you strengthen your ability to navigate future hurts with grace and clarity. Forgiveness becomes a tool for emotional self-regulation, enabling you to maintain inner peace even in the face of conflict or adversity. Over time, this resilience transforms how you experience and respond to challenges, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger. Forgiveness is deeply personal, and its effects ripple outward. By letting go of resentment, you create space for joy, connection, and growth in your life. This not only benefits you, but also influences those around you, fostering a more compassionate and understanding environment. The freedom of forgiveness extends beyond individual experiences, shaping a life that is less burdened by anger and more enriched by peace. Through forgiveness, you reclaim your power and rewrite your story. The chains of resentment fall away, leaving you free to move forward with clarity, compassion, and strength. This journey is not about erasing the past, but transforming how it lives within you, creating a foundation for lasting inner peace. Forgiveness frees us from the weight of resentment, allowing clarity and peace to take its place. Yet, to fully embrace a life less burdened by anger, understanding the deeper principles that govern our interactions becomes essential. In Buddhism, the concept of karma offers profound insights into the roots of anger and how our actions shape the cycles of emotion and consequence. It teaches that every action, thought, and intention plants a seed that influences the conditions of our future. By understanding karma, we can cultivate mindful actions, break the cycles of negativity, and nurture harmony in our relationships and challenges. Karma is often misunderstood as a system of rewards and punishments, but its essence is much deeper. It reflects the natural law of cause and effect, where each action creates a ripple that affects not only the external world, but also our internal state. When anger drives our actions, it plants seeds of further anger, creating conditions for ongoing conflict and suffering. Understanding this interconnectedness shifts how we respond to life's challenges, encouraging thoughtful choices that promote peace instead of perpetuating harm. Anger arises when expectations clash with reality, often leading to impulsive reactions. From a karmic perspective, these reactions carry consequences not only for others, but also for ourselves. Words spoken in anger might hurt someone else, but they also leave a residue of bitterness within us. Recognizing this dual impact invites mindfulness, prompting us to pause and consider the long-term effects of our responses before acting. Mindful awareness of karma encourages accountability. Instead of blaming others or external circumstances for our anger, it asks us to reflect on the seeds we've sown. For instance, if a relationship is strained, the karmic view invites us to consider how our actions or attitudes may have contributed to the tension. This isn't about self-blame, but about recognizing our role in creating the conditions we experience. With this awareness, we can shift our actions to align with harmony and understanding. Karma also illuminates the impermanence of anger. Just as no situation is static, emotions are ever-changing, shaped by the conditions we create. By nurturing patience and compassion, we plant seeds that allow anger to dissipate more quickly. These seeds also influence how others respond to us, fostering relationships rooted in kindness rather than reactivity. The Buddhist perspective on karma emphasizes intention as a key factor in shaping outcomes. Actions taken with anger or ill will often lead to further harm, even if the immediate goal is achieved. Conversely, actions grounded in understanding and compassion create a foundation for lasting resolution. This understanding helps us move beyond reactive anger, guiding us to respond thoughtfully in ways that align with our values. Another profound teaching of karma is interconnectedness. Every action affects the web of relationships and experiences around us. Anger can feel isolating, but karmic awareness reminds us that our emotions and actions are part of a larger whole. This perspective reduces the self-centeredness that often fuels anger, replacing it with a sense of shared responsibility and care. Karma also challenges the desire for revenge, which often arises from anger. Seeking to even the score perpetuates cycles of harm, creating conditions for further conflict. Understanding karma reveals that true resolution comes not from retaliation, but from breaking the cycle through mindful, compassionate action. This shift transforms anger from a destructive force into an opportunity for growth and healing. Practicing mindfulness enhances our understanding of karma by bringing attention to the present moment. Anger often blinds us to the broader consequences of our actions, focusing instead on immediate gratification or release. Mindfulness creates space to reflect on the ripple effects of our choices, encouraging responses that align with long-term well-being rather than fleeting satisfaction. Karma also fosters humility by reminding us that everyone is navigating their own journey, shaped by past actions and experiences. When someone's behavior triggers anger, karmic awareness encourages us to consider the unseen factors influencing their actions. This perspective softens judgment, allowing empathy to replace resentment. It reminds us that just as we are shaped by our past choices, so too are others. Understanding karma transforms how we view challenges. Instead of seeing difficulties as unfair or punitive, the karmic perspective frames them as opportunities for learning and growth. For example, a conflict at work might initially provoke anger, but through a karmic lens, it becomes a chance to practice patience, improve communication, or address unresolved issues. This shift in perspective reduces the emotional charge of the situation, making it easier to navigate with clarity and calm. Karma also teaches the importance of letting go. Holding on to anger or grudges creates a cycle of suffering that binds us to the past. By releasing these attachments, we free ourselves to engage fully with the present moment. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring harm, but choosing not to let it define our actions or emotions moving forward. Gratitude plays a role in understanding karma as well. Reflecting on the positive outcomes of past actions reinforces the value of mindful, compassionate choices. This practice strengthens our commitment to planting seeds of kindness and understanding, creating a cycle of positivity that counteracts anger's destructive tendencies. The karmic perspective also aligns with the practice of forgiveness, recognizing that everyone is shaped by their karma, including their mistakes, fosters a sense of compassion. Forgiveness becomes not just an act of kindness, but a way to break free from the cycles of anger and resentment that harm both parties. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of the past. Patience is another virtue emphasized in the karmic view of anger. Change, whether in yourself or others, takes time. Impatience often fuels anger, leading to frustration and reactive choices. Karma teaches that every effort, no matter how small, contributes to the conditions for growth. This understanding encourages perseverance, even when progress feels slow. Karma reminds us of the power of choice. While we cannot control the actions of others, we always have control over our responses. Each choice, no matter how small, shapes the conditions for future experiences. This awareness empowers us to respond to anger-inducing situations with intention, knowing that our actions have the potential to create harmony or perpetuate conflict. Ultimately, karma is a practice of mindfulness and intention. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and choosing actions that align with peace, compassion, and understanding. By embracing this perspective, anger loses its grip, replaced by a sense of purpose and clarity. Each mindful choice becomes a step toward a life guided by harmony, where anger is no longer a source of suffering, but a catalyst for growth. Understanding the role of karma teaches us the power of intentional actions, showing how each choice shapes our emotional landscape and relationships. Yet, even with this awareness, anger can arise with a force that feels overwhelming, clouding judgment and disrupting peace. In these moments, the breath becomes an anchor, a simple yet profound tool to calm the storm within. Breath control is more than just an exercise. It is a direct pathway to balance, offering immediate relief and long-term resilience against anger's intensity. The breath is intricately connected to emotions. When anger flares, the body reacts instinctively. Breath quickens, muscles tense, and the heart races. These physical responses fuel the emotional state, creating a feedback loop that intensifies the anger. By consciously altering the breath, you interrupt this cycle, sending signals of calm to the mind and body. This physiological shift not only reduces anger's physical intensity, but also creates the clarity needed to respond thoughtfully. Breath control works because it engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's relaxation response. When you slow and deepen your breathing, the body receives a message that the perceived threat has passed. This activation of the relaxation response counteracts the adrenaline and cortisol released during anger, helping to restore balance. The simplicity of this practice makes it accessible in any situation, whether you're in the middle of a conflict or reflecting afterward. One effective technique is diaphragmatic breathing, which involves using the diaphragm to draw in deep, steady breaths. Place a hand on your stomach and inhale deeply through your nose, allowing your abdomen to expand as your lungs fill with air. Exhale slowly through your mouth, letting your abdomen fall. This technique not only calms the nervous system, but also shifts your focus away from the source of anger to the rhythm of your breath. This redirection creates space between the trigger and your response, reducing the likelihood of reactive behavior. Another powerful practice is box breathing, which involves equal counts of inhaling, holding the breath, exhaling, and pausing before the next inhale. For example, inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and pause for 4 counts. This structured approach provides a sense of control, grounding you in the present moment and breaking the spiral of anger. Over time, box breathing trains the mind to remain calm under pressure, even in challenging situations. Breath control also fosters mindfulness, which is essential in managing anger. When you focus on your breath, you become fully present, observing emotions without judgment. This awareness allows you to recognize anger as a passing experience rather than an identity or a permanent state. By anchoring yourself in the breath, you create a buffer between the emotion and your reaction, enabling a more measured and intentional response. The breath also serves as a bridge between the mind and body, harmonizing the two in moments of emotional turbulence. Anger often creates a disconnect, where the mind races with thoughts and the body reacts with tension. Conscious breathing realigns this connection, calming the mind while relaxing the body. This integration not only reduces the intensity of anger, but also restores a sense of wholeness and stability. Practicing breath control regularly builds resilience, making it easier to manage anger before it escalates. For instance, incorporating breathing exercises into your daily routine trains your nervous system to default to calmness, even in stressful moments. Over time, this practice rewires your emotional responses, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger. It's not about eliminating anger entirely, but about transforming how you engage with it. The breath is also a tool for cultivating compassion, both for yourself and others. When anger arises, it's easy to become consumed by the emotion, losing sight of the broader perspective. By pausing to breathe deeply, you create space to consider the other person's point of view, or to reflect on your own needs and feelings with kindness. This moment of compassion interrupts anger's grip, replacing it with understanding and connection. Breath control can also enhance your ability to communicate effectively during conflicts. When anger affects your breathing, it often translates into rushed words, raised voices, or defensive tones. By focusing on slow, deliberate breaths, you regain control over your speech and demeanor, allowing for calmer, more constructive dialogue. This shift not only diffuses tension, but also fosters a more collaborative approach to resolving issues. One of the most significant benefits of breath control is its portability. Unlike other tools for managing anger, the breath is always with you, accessible anytime and anywhere. Whether you're in a heated discussion, stuck in traffic, or reflecting on a frustrating experience, the breath provides an immediate anchor. This accessibility makes it an invaluable resource for maintaining emotional balance in the midst of life's challenges. Breath control also connects you to the present moment, breaking the cycle of rumination that often accompanies anger. When you focus on the breath, you interrupt the replaying of past grievances or the anticipation of future conflicts. This presence not only reduces the emotional charge of anger, but also opens the door to clarity and perspective. Another layer of breath control is its ability to enhance self-awareness. The way you breathe often reflects your emotional state, and paying attention to these patterns can reveal underlying tensions or triggers. For instance, shallow, rapid breaths might indicate unresolved frustration, while deep, steady breaths signal a state of calm. By tuning into your breath, you gain insight into your emotions, enabling you to address anger at its root. Incorporating breath control into moments of reflection can also deepen your understanding of anger. After a conflict or a stressful situation, taking time to breathe mindfully allows you to process the experience with clarity. This practice not only helps you learn from the event, but also reduces the residual tension that can linger and affect future interactions. Breath control aligns with the principles of non-resistance and acceptance, key tenets in managing anger. Instead of fighting against the emotion or trying to suppress it, the breath invites you to acknowledge and move through it with grace. This non-resistance transforms anger from a force of destruction into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. The practice of breath control also integrates seamlessly with other techniques for managing anger, such as mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion. For example, combining deep breathing with a gratitude practice can shift your focus from what's frustrating to what's fulfilling. Similarly, pairing breath awareness with compassionate reflection can help you approach conflicts with greater understanding and empathy. Breath control is not just a reactive tool, it's also preventive. Regular practice strengthens your emotional foundation, making it less likely for anger to take hold in the first place. This proactive approach creates a life guided by balance and intentionality, where anger becomes a signal rather than a source of suffering. Through the breath, you access a profound source of inner calm, capable of transforming even the most intense moments of anger into opportunities for clarity, connection, and growth. This practice doesn't require complex rituals or special settings. It only asks for your presence and willingness to engage with the power of the breath. In its simplicity lies its strength, offering a path to lasting peace and resilience. The breath teaches us how to find stability in the midst of emotional storms, offering a sense of grounding when anger or frustration arises. Yet, beneath these feelings often lies a resistance to change, a reluctance to let go of what was, or an anxiety about what might come. Life is a constant ebb and flow, and clinging to permanence in a world defined by impermanence only fuels dissatisfaction. Embracing change isn't about denying the challenges it brings. It's about learning to navigate its waves with grace and resilience. Change is inevitable, yet it often feels threatening. Anger and frustration arise when expectations clash with the reality of shifting circumstances. Whether it's the loss of a relationship, a career transition, or even smaller daily disruptions, resistance to change intensifies emotional turmoil. Accepting impermanence doesn't mean avoiding sadness or grief. It means understanding that these feelings, like all things, are transient. By accepting this truth, you allow yourself to experience emotions without being consumed by them. The practice of embracing change starts with awareness. Frustration often stems from an unconscious clinging to what feels comfortable or familiar. When faced with unexpected shifts, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I holding on to? This question brings hidden attachments into focus, allowing you to see how they shape your reaction to change. Recognizing these attachments is the first step in loosening their grip. Understanding the transient nature of all things helps reframe your perspective on challenges. When faced with a difficult situation, it's easy to feel trapped, as if the hardship will last forever. Acknowledging impermanence reminds you that even the most trying moments will pass, just as joyful ones do. This perspective doesn't diminish the difficulty, but offers hope and resilience, knowing that no state is permanent. Embracing impermanence also reduces the fear of loss. Much of life's frustration arises from the desire to hold on to things, whether it's possessions, relationships, or identities. This clinging creates a false sense of control, as if keeping things unchanged will protect your happiness. Accepting impermanence shifts this mindset, teaching you to appreciate what you have in the present without fearing its eventual change. This appreciation fosters gratitude, which naturally softens frustration and anger. The beauty of impermanence lies in its ability to create space for renewal. Just as the seasons change, so too do the cycles of your life. Loss often feels like an ending, but it's also a beginning, making room for new opportunities and growth. By embracing this cycle, you move from resisting change to welcoming it as a natural part of life. This shift transforms frustration into curiosity as you begin to explore what each change might bring. Resilience grows when you accept that control is limited. Much of life's stress comes from trying to control outcomes, people, or situations that are inherently unpredictable. Letting go of this need for control frees you from the emotional weight of constant effort and disappointment. Instead of focusing on what you cannot change, you redirect your energy toward how you choose to respond. This empowerment reduces frustration and fosters a sense of agency. Practicing mindfulness deepens your ability to embrace change. By staying present, you cultivate an awareness of each moment as it unfolds, rather than clinging to the past or fearing the future. This presence helps you witness the fluidity of life without judgment, making it easier to adapt to shifts as they occur. Mindfulness also trains your mind to observe change without resistance, allowing you to experience it fully without being overwhelmed. Flexibility is another essential skill in accepting impermanence. Rigidity in expectations often leads to frustration when life doesn't unfold as planned. Cultivating flexibility means approaching life with an open mind, ready to adapt to whatever comes your way. This doesn't mean abandoning your goals or values, but adjusting your approach as circumstances evolve. Flexibility transforms change from an obstacle into a challenge you're prepared to meet. Compassion plays a vital role in navigating change, both for yourself and others. Change often stirs vulnerability, whether through fear, loss, or uncertainty. Offering compassion to yourself during these times creates a supportive inner environment, reducing frustration and self-criticism. Similarly, extending compassion to others who are affected by change fosters connection and understanding, easing tension and conflict. Impermanence also invites you to reframe your relationship with time. Frustration often arises from a sense of urgency, as if change needs to be controlled or resolved immediately. Embracing impermanence teaches patience, reminding you that life unfolds in its own time. By releasing the need to rush or force outcomes, you create space for growth and clarity to emerge naturally. The transient nature of life encourages you to focus on what truly matters. When faced with change, it's easy to become caught up in the details or to dwell on what's been lost. Reflecting on your core values and priorities helps you navigate change with purpose, ensuring that your responses align with what is most important to you. This alignment brings a sense of stability even amidst uncertainty. Gratitude deepens as you accept impermanence. Knowing that nothing lasts forever enhances your appreciation for the present moment and the people, experiences, and opportunities within it. Instead of lamenting what's changed or what might end, gratitude shifts your focus to the richness of what exists right now. This shift not only reduces frustration, but also fosters a sense of fulfillment and joy. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean denying pain or hardship. It means acknowledging that these experiences, like all others, are part of the human journey. By accepting this truth, you free yourself from the need to fight against what is, opening the door to peace and resilience. This acceptance doesn't eliminate challenges, but transforms how you relate to them, reducing their power to disrupt your well-being. Resisting change often stems from fear of the unknown, fear of loss, or fear of failure. Accepting impermanence helps dissolve these fears by reminding you that change is not inherently negative. It's a natural part of growth and transformation, offering opportunities for renewal and discovery. By shifting your perspective, you replace fear with curiosity and openness. Relationships benefit from embracing impermanence as well. Clinging to fixed expectations of others often leads to frustration when they change or grow in ways you didn't anticipate. Accepting impermanence allows you to appreciate the evolving nature of relationships, fostering flexibility and understanding. This mindset deepens connection and reduces conflict as you learn to navigate changes together. Impermanence also encourages self-compassion, especially during times of personal transition. Change often brings feelings of uncertainty or inadequacy as you navigate new circumstances. Offering yourself kindness and patience during these times reduces frustration and builds confidence. Self-compassion reminds you that growth is a process, and it's okay to move through it at your own pace. The practice of embracing impermanence aligns with letting go of attachments. Attachments to specific outcomes, identities, or possessions often create frustration when they're disrupted. By releasing these attachments, you free yourself from the emotional weight they carry, making it easier to adapt to change. This doesn't mean detachment from life, but a balanced engagement that recognizes the fluidity of all things. Impermanence offers a profound sense of freedom. When you accept that life is ever-changing, you release the pressure to control every aspect of it. This freedom allows you to approach each moment with openness and curiosity, unburdened by the need for certainty or permanence. It creates a sense of lightness, where you can flow with life rather than resisting it. As you embrace impermanence, you cultivate a mindset of adaptability and resilience. Each change becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and explore new possibilities. By letting go of frustration and accepting life's transient nature, you create a foundation of peace and strength that carries you through every transition with grace and confidence. Accepting impermanence allows you to move through life with grace, but conflicts often disrupt that balance. These moments are where judgment tends to flare up, creating division and misunderstanding. What if, instead of falling into the familiar habit of blaming and condemning, you approach these situations with curiosity? By shifting from judgment to understanding, you unlock a pathway to resolving conflict with clarity and compassion, breaking the cycle of tension and fostering true connection. Judgment is reactive. It arises quickly, often before all the facts are clear. It simplifies complex situations, assigning blame or creating labels for people's actions. While judgment can feel satisfying in the moment, it often exacerbates conflict, reinforcing emotional walls rather than building bridges. Curiosity, on the other hand, invites exploration. It asks questions instead of making assumptions, creating space for dialogue and discovery. Curiosity starts with a willingness to pause. When conflict arises, the immediate impulse is often to react, whether through anger, defensiveness, or withdrawal. Curiosity interrupts this pattern by encouraging you to ask, "What's really happening here?" This pause allows you to step back from the emotional intensity and approach the situation with a clearer mind. Instead of fueling the conflict, you create an opportunity to understand its roots. Blame often dominates conflict, but curiosity reframes it as a shared experience. Instead of pointing fingers, curiosity asks, what are the factors at play? What might the other person be feeling or experiencing? This shift transforms the conflict from a battle to a conversation, where both parties can explore their perspectives without fear of condemnation. Curiosity also softens the defensive barriers that judgment creates. When someone feels judged, they're less likely to engage openly or honestly. Curiosity, by contrast, signals interest and respect. Asking questions like, "Can you tell me more about why you feel this way?" or "What's most important to you in this situation?" invites the other person to share their perspective. This approach not only diffuses tension, but also fosters trust, creating a foundation for resolution. Practicing curiosity requires self-awareness. Judgment often arises from your own biases, fears, or insecurities. For example, if someone's actions frustrate you, it may be because they challenge your expectations or touch on a sensitive area. By turning your curiosity inward, you can explore these triggers and uncover what's driving your reaction. This self-inquiry not only reduces reactivity, but also enhances your ability to approach the other person with genuine curiosity. Replacing judgment with curiosity also involves letting go of the need to be right. Conflict often becomes a struggle for validation, where each person seeks to prove their perspective as correct. Curiosity shifts the focus from winning to understanding. It asks, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can we find common ground?" This openness creates a space where resolution becomes possible, free from the rigidity of ego. Curiosity transforms how you interpret the other person's intentions. Judgment assumes motives, often negative ones, based on limited information. Curiosity acknowledges the gaps in understanding and seeks to fill them. For instance, if someone's tone seems harsh, judgment might label them as rude or disrespectful. Curiosity, however, asks, what might be causing them to speak this way? Are they under stress or feeling unheard? This shift reduces the emotional charge of the situation, making it easier to respond thoughtfully. Language plays a crucial role in cultivating curiosity during conflict. Judgmental language often includes absolutes, words like always or never, that escalate tension. Curiosity replaces these with open-ended questions and neutral observations. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," curiosity frames it as, "I feel unheard in our conversations. Can we talk about how we can improve this?" This approach invites collaboration rather than confrontation. Empathy deepens when you approach conflict with curiosity. By seeking to understand the other person's experience, you begin to see their humanity beyond the immediate conflict. This perspective fosters compassion, even in challenging moments. For example, if a colleague's behavior disrupts a project, curiosity might reveal their personal struggles or pressures. This doesn't excuse harmful actions, but provides context that allows for a more constructive response. Curiosity also encourages flexibility in conflict resolution. Judgment often locks you into a fixed perspective, making compromise difficult. Curiosity, by contrast, keeps the conversation open, allowing for creative solutions. When both parties feel heard and understood, they're more likely to collaborate in finding a resolution that respects everyone's needs. Practicing curiosity consistently builds emotional resilience. The habit of questioning rather than judging trains your mind to respond to conflict with calm and clarity. Over time, this approach reduces the intensity of emotional reactions, making it easier to navigate disagreements without escalating them. Curiosity becomes a tool for maintaining inner balance, even in the midst of challenging interactions. Curiosity also helps you recognize the broader context of conflicts. Judgment often isolates the immediate issue, ignoring the larger dynamics at play. For instance, a disagreement with a family member might reflect deeper patterns of communication or unresolved past tensions. Curiosity invites you to explore these underlying factors, addressing the root causes rather than just the symptoms. This depth of understanding fosters lasting resolution rather than temporary fixes. In replacing judgment with curiosity, you also cultivate humility. Judgment assumes certainty, while curiosity acknowledges the limits of your perspective. By embracing the possibility that you might not have all the answers, you create space for growth and learning. This humility not only strengthens your relationships, but also enhances your self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Curiosity doesn't mean avoiding accountability or ignoring harm. It's about addressing conflict in a way that prioritizes understanding and connection. When harm has occurred, curiosity asks, how can we address this in a way that promotes healing and prevents future issues? This approach ensures that resolution is not only effective, but also compassionate. The shift from judgment to curiosity transforms conflict into an opportunity for growth. Each disagreement becomes a chance to deepen your understanding of yourself and others, to strengthen your relationships, and to practice empathy and resilience. This transformation doesn't eliminate conflict, but changes how you experience and resolve it, reducing its emotional toll and fostering peace. By replacing judgment with curiosity, you align your actions with your values, choosing connection over division and understanding over blame. This practice not only resolves conflicts more effectively, but also enriches your relationships, creating a life guided by empathy, clarity, and mutual respect. It's a shift that transforms not only how you navigate disagreements, but also how you engage with the world. Approaching conflict with curiosity reshapes the way we engage with others, turning tension into understanding. But even with the best intentions, emotional resilience is essential to navigating the storms of anger and stress. Life's provocations often arrive unexpectedly, testing our ability to remain steady. Strengthening the mind against anger is not about suppressing feelings, but developing the capacity to respond thoughtfully and maintain balance no matter the challenges. Emotional resilience begins with self-awareness. Anger often arises from unmet expectations, unresolved emotions, or stress that has built up over time. By identifying these patterns, you create the foundation for managing them effectively. Recognizing triggers doesn't mean avoiding them entirely, but becoming aware of how they influence your emotions. This awareness helps you pause before reacting, giving you the chance to choose a response that aligns with your values. Building resilience involves shifting from reactivity to intentionality. Reactivity is impulsive and often fueled by frustration, while intentionality is grounded in thoughtful consideration. The space between stimulus and response is where resilience thrives. When someone's words or actions provoke you, taking a moment to breathe, reflect, and ground yourself allows you to respond with clarity instead of escalating the situation. The practice of mindfulness strengthens this ability. By staying present, you learn to observe emotions without being swept away by them. Mindfulness teaches you to acknowledge anger as it arises, recognizing it as a temporary state rather than a defining force. This shift reduces the intensity of anger, making it easier to address its underlying causes without losing control. Developing emotional resilience also requires cultivating patience. Anger often stems from the desire for immediate results or the frustration of unmet expectations. Patience teaches you to accept that growth, understanding, and resolution take time. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but approaching challenges with the steadiness that comes from knowing that progress is a process. Another essential aspect of resilience is reframing your perspective. Anger narrows your focus, fixating on what's wrong or unfair. Resilience broadens your view, allowing you to see the situation in its full context. Instead of viewing a provocation as a personal attack, you can consider other factors. Perhaps the other person is under stress or unaware of their impact. This broader perspective reduces the emotional charge of the moment and fosters understanding. Resilience also involves setting boundaries. Anger often arises when others violate your personal space, values, or expectations. Clear, respectful boundaries help prevent these situations from escalating. Communicating your needs assertively yet calmly ensures that you maintain your integrity without adding fuel to the fire. Boundaries are not walls, but guidelines that protect your peace while fostering healthy interactions. Gratitude plays a surprising role in building emotional resilience. Focusing on what you appreciate shifts your attention from frustration to fulfillment, creating a buffer against anger. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but provides a foundation of positivity that helps you navigate them more effectively. It reminds you of the resources and relationships that support you, reinforcing your ability to handle difficulties. Resilience also grows through the practice of self-compassion. Anger often turns inward, manifesting as self-criticism or guilt. Treating yourself with kindness during these moments reduces the cycle of negative emotions. Self-compassion reminds you that everyone faces challenges and makes mistakes, and it encourages you to approach your struggles with the same care you would offer a friend. Physical well-being is closely linked to emotional resilience. Stress and anger take a toll on the body, and neglecting physical health can make it harder to manage emotions. Regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and sufficient sleep provide the energy and stability needed to face provocations with a clear mind. Physical self-care is not separate from emotional resilience, but an integral part of maintaining balance. Resilience also involves embracing flexibility. Life rarely goes as planned, and rigid expectations often lead to frustration when reality deviates. Flexibility allows you to adapt to change without losing your footing. This adaptability doesn't mean abandoning your goals or values, but approaching them with openness and creativity. When faced with setbacks, flexibility helps you find alternative paths rather than becoming stuck in anger or disappointment. Engaging in reflective practices, such as journaling or meditation, deepens your emotional resilience. Writing down your thoughts and feelings provides clarity, helping you identify patterns and triggers. Meditation trains your mind to remain steady in the face of emotional waves, creating a sense of inner calm that carries into your daily interactions. These practices cultivate a stronger, more focused mindset that is less reactive to stress. Resilience also thrives on connection. Relationships built on trust and support provide a buffer against anger and frustration. Sharing your experiences with others who listen without judgment helps release the emotional weight of challenges. These connections remind you that you're not alone, strengthening your ability to face difficulties with courage and confidence. Another key to resilience is accepting what you cannot control. Anger often arises from the desire to change external circumstances that are beyond your influence. By focusing on what you can control, your actions, mindset, and choices, you reclaim your power. This shift reduces frustration and empowers you to navigate challenges with intention. Resilience is not about eliminating anger, but transforming how you engage with it. Anger can be a signal, highlighting areas of growth or unmet needs. By approaching anger with curiosity rather than resistance, you uncover its deeper messages and address them constructively. This process turns anger from a destructive force into a catalyst for positive change. Forgiveness enhances resilience by releasing the emotional burdens of past conflicts. Holding on to resentment creates a cycle of anger that drains your energy and focus. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harm, but choosing to let go of its grip on your peace. This act of release strengthens your emotional foundation, allowing you to move forward with clarity and strength. Resilience grows through consistent practice. Each time you pause before reacting, set a boundary, or reframe a challenge, you strengthen your ability to handle provocations with grace. Over time, these small choices create a habit of resilience, making it your natural response to stress and anger. This growth doesn't happen overnight, but through steady effort and commitment. Developing emotional resilience transforms your relationship with anger, stress, and challenges. It equips you with the tools to face life's difficulties without being overwhelmed, allowing you to respond thoughtfully and maintain your inner peace. This resilience doesn't eliminate difficulties, but changes how you navigate them, creating a life defined by strength, balance, and understanding. Each moment of anger becomes an opportunity to grow, deepen your self-awareness, and cultivate a sense of calm that carries you through even the most trying times. Resilience strengthens the mind against anger and helps create a stable foundation for navigating life's challenges. But anger often persists when the focus remains inward, cycling through personal grievances and unmet expectations. A powerful way to break free from this cycle is to shift outward, redirecting energy into acts of service and kindness. Contribution transforms negative emotions, creating joy, connection, and a sense of purpose that transcends the self. When anger consumes the mind, it narrows focus, locking attention on what feels unfair, frustrating, or hurtful. This inward spiral amplifies negative emotions, making them feel larger and more overwhelming. Service breaks this pattern by turning the focus outward, inviting you to engage with the needs of others. Helping someone else creates a shift in perspective, reminding you that struggles are not unique to you and that you have the power to make a positive impact. Acts of service are inherently grounding. They require presence and attentiveness, drawing you out of the mental loops anger often creates. Whether it's assisting a neighbor, volunteering in your community, or offering support to a friend, service connects you to something larger than your immediate concerns. This connection dissolves the intensity of anger, replacing it with a sense of fulfillment and belonging. Service also fosters gratitude, which is a natural antidote to anger. When you engage with others' needs, you often encounter perspectives that highlight your own blessings. For example, offering support to someone facing significant challenges can illuminate the positives in your own life. This realization doesn't diminish your struggles, but provides balance, reducing the emotional weight of anger. Generosity, a core aspect of service, has been shown to create emotional rewards. Studies reveal that acts of giving activate areas of the brain associated with pleasure and satisfaction. This response is not dependent on grand gestures, but can arise from small, thoughtful actions. Sharing your time, energy, or resources fosters a sense of joy that counteracts the bitterness anger can bring. Engaging in service also creates opportunities for meaningful connection. Anger often isolates, creating emotional distance between you and others. Contribution bridges this gap, fostering relationships built on empathy and mutual support. These connections provide a sense of community and understanding that makes it easier to navigate challenges without succumbing to anger. Service transforms energy into action. Anger generates a surge of physical and emotional energy that, if left unchecked, can lead to destructive outcomes. Channeling this energy into constructive actions not only diffuses its intensity, but also creates tangible benefits. For instance, turning frustration into efforts to improve a situation, whether through advocacy, collaboration, or creative problem-solving, gives anger a purpose, turning it into a force for good. Contribution also reinforces a sense of agency. Anger often arises from feelings of powerlessness or lack of control. Acts of service remind you of your ability to influence the world in positive ways, restoring a sense of empowerment. This shift from helplessness to action reduces frustration and fosters confidence in your capacity to make a difference. Service aligns with the principles of compassion and empathy. When you choose to help others, you cultivate a deeper understanding of their experiences and struggles. This perspective reduces judgment and resentment, replacing them with kindness and patience. Empathy nurtures emotional balance, making it easier to respond to challenges with calm and clarity. Engaging in acts of service also encourages self-reflection. When you contribute to others, you often encounter moments that prompt introspection, questions about your values, intentions, and priorities. This reflection deepens your self-awareness, helping you understand how anger may have shaped your thoughts or actions. With this awareness, you can approach future situations with greater mindfulness and intentionality. Service fosters resilience by reminding you of your capacity to endure and thrive. Helping others often reveals strengths and resources within yourself that anger might have obscured. For example, supporting someone through a difficult time may highlight your patience, creativity, or problem-solving skills. Recognizing these qualities reinforces your belief in your ability to handle your own challenges with grace. Engaging in service creates a ripple effect, extending the impact of your actions far beyond their immediate context. A single act of kindness can inspire others to do the same, creating a chain reaction that amplifies positivity. This awareness of your influence reinforces the value of contribution, motivating you to continue channeling energy into acts of kindness and generosity. Contribution also helps dissolve anger by shifting the focus from outcomes to intentions. Anger often arises from unmet expectations or perceived failures. In contrast, acts of service emphasize the effort itself rather than the result. Whether your actions are met with gratitude or go unnoticed, the act of giving creates its own reward. This mindset reduces frustration and fosters a sense of inner peace. The joy of service is not limited to grand gestures or organized efforts. Everyday opportunities to contribute, holding the door for someone, offering a kind word, or simply listening, create moments of connection and meaning. These small acts accumulate, building a habit of generosity that reshapes your emotional landscape over time. Service also aligns with the practice of mindfulness. Engaging fully in the act of helping others requires presence and focus. This attentiveness draws you out of the mental patterns that sustain anger, grounding you in the here and now. The act of giving becomes a form of meditation, fostering calm and clarity in the midst of life's challenges. Through service, you develop a greater sense of purpose. Anger often narrows your vision, focusing on immediate grievances or conflicts. Contribution expands your perspective, connecting you to causes and communities that align with your values. This sense of purpose provides direction and meaning, reducing the emotional weight of anger and creating a foundation for sustained peace. Service also enhances emotional intelligence. Helping others requires sensitivity, communication, and adaptability, all skills that strengthen your ability to navigate emotions effectively. These qualities extend beyond acts of service, enriching your interactions and relationships in every area of life. Acts of contribution create a sense of fulfillment that anger cannot provide. While anger may offer a fleeting sense of righteousness or control, it ultimately drains energy and creates division. In contrast, service nourishes the spirit, creating a lasting sense of joy and connection. This fulfillment becomes a powerful incentive to choose contribution over conflict. Overcoming anger through service is not about ignoring your own needs or emotions. It's about recognizing that helping others often helps you as well. Contribution creates a cycle of positivity where giving and receiving are intertwined. This cycle fosters emotional balance, reducing the intensity of anger and creating space for growth and healing. The joy of service lies in its ability to transform not only your emotional state, but also the world around you. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to a larger tapestry of connection and compassion. By channeling energy into service, you not only overcome anger, but also create a life rich with meaning, resilience, and joy. This shift is not just a temporary relief, but a lasting transformation where contribution becomes a cornerstone of inner peace and fulfillment. Channeling anger into service transforms energy into purpose, creating harmony within and fostering meaningful connections with the world around you. But what if you could go even deeper, building an unshakable foundation that protects your peace in any situation? Buddhism offers guiding principles that empower you to navigate life's challenges with clarity, resilience, and a calm mind. These teachings don't promise a life free of difficulties, but reveal how to remain unaffected by external turmoil, allowing you to move through the world with balance and grace. The essence of these principles lies in understanding the impermanence of everything. Emotions, situations, and even relationships are transient. The first step toward an unshakable mind is embracing this truth, not as a source of despair, but as a path to liberation. When you let go of the need for things to remain constant, you create space for peace to flourish. This doesn't mean detachment in the sense of indifference, but cultivating a balanced engagement with life that allows you to accept its ebb and flow without resistance. Non-attachment is central to this perspective. Often, suffering arises not from external events, but from the clinging and aversion within. Whether it's the fear of losing something precious or the frustration of unmet desires, attachment binds you to emotional turbulence. By loosening these ties, you free yourself from the weight of expectations, allowing your mind to remain steady regardless of external circumstances. Equanimity follows as a natural result of this practice. It's the ability to remain calm and composed, even amidst chaos. Equanimity isn't about suppressing emotions, but cultivating a sense of inner stability that anchors you through life's highs and lows. This state of mind helps you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, reducing the impact of external forces on your well-being. Mindfulness sharpens this stability by bringing your attention to the present moment. When you dwell on the past or worry about the future, you give power to circumstances beyond your control. Mindfulness draws you back to the here and now, where clarity and calm reside. This practice isn't about escaping reality, but engaging with it fully, observing thoughts and emotions without letting them dictate your state of mind. Compassion adds depth to this mindfulness. When you extend kindness toward yourself and others, you weaken anger, judgment, and resentment. Compassion transforms how you perceive challenges, seeing them as opportunities to grow and connect, rather than threats to your peace. This shift doesn't only benefit those around you, it cultivates a softer, more resilient inner world. The principle of letting go aligns closely with non-attachment, but focuses specifically on releasing control. Life's uncertainties often provoke anxiety or frustration, but the attempt to control the uncontrollable only deepens this struggle. Letting go doesn't mean passivity. It means trusting the natural flow of life and redirecting your energy toward what you can influence. This mindset fosters a profound sense of freedom, allowing you to navigate change with confidence and grace. Patience emerges as an essential quality in this process. The fast pace of modern life often clashes with the reality that meaningful growth takes time. Impatience fuels frustration, while patience creates the space needed for understanding and acceptance to flourish. Practicing patience with yourself and others reduces reactivity, allowing peace to take root even in difficult situations. The principle of self-awareness is another cornerstone of unshakability. Understanding your triggers, habits, and emotional patterns provides insight into how external events affect you. This awareness isn't about self-criticism, but about recognizing where you can grow and make conscious choices. With self-awareness, you take responsibility for your reactions, breaking free from the cycle of blame and reclaiming your power. Acceptance complements self-awareness by encouraging you to face reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Denial or resistance to what's happening only intensifies suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows you to work with life rather than against it. This doesn't mean complacency, but an active engagement with the present, grounded in the understanding that peace comes from aligning with reality. Gratitude ties all these principles together, offering a powerful tool for shifting your perspective. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you weaken anger and dissatisfaction. Gratitude isn't about ignoring difficulties, but about recognizing the beauty and lessons within them. This mindset creates a foundation of contentment that remains steady even in challenging times. Buddhism teaches that true peace doesn't come from controlling external circumstances, but from mastering the mind. By integrating these principles into your daily life, you build a resilience that shields you from the impact of external events. These teachings guide you toward a life of balance, clarity, and deep fulfillment, where nothing has the power to disrupt your inner calm. True peace arises not from bending the world to your will, but from aligning with its natural flow. The Buddhist principles teach that striving to control what is beyond your reach only creates frustration and suffering. Yet, how often do we find ourselves pushing against reality, forcing outcomes that aren't meant to unfold? This resistance disrupts our inner harmony, leading to exhaustion and discontent. A Zen story offers a profound reminder of the transformative power of letting go, guiding us to live with greater ease and acceptance. Forcing anything in life stems from an attachment to outcomes. This attachment creates tension as the mind clings to an idea of how things should be, ignoring the truth of how they are. When we force, we reject the natural rhythm of life, attempting to impose our will on a reality that often cannot be controlled. The result is a cycle of struggle, where effort feels unending and progress elusive. By releasing this compulsion, we allow life to unfold naturally, discovering a balance that leads to fulfillment. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning effort or becoming passive. It means engaging with life fully while remaining unattached to the results. This mindset fosters a sense of ease, where actions are guided by clarity rather than desperation. The effort is still present, but it flows harmoniously without the strain of forcing. This approach not only reduces frustration, but also enhances the quality of your actions, as they arise from a place of presence and intention. The Zen story teaches that forcing disrupts the natural order. A farmer once tried to make his crops grow faster by pulling on the young shoots, thinking it would help them flourish. Instead, he damaged them, setting back their growth. The same principle applies to life. When you push too hard, you often hinder progress rather than aiding it. Trusting the process doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting with patience, understanding that growth takes time and cannot be rushed. Forcing often arises from fear of failure, loss, or uncertainty. This fear drives the urge to control, as if micromanaging life's details will provide security. Yet, the more you try to control, the more rigid and fragile you become. Flexibility, on the other hand, allows you to adapt to change with resilience. It creates space for possibilities to emerge, often in ways you couldn't have predicted. By trusting life's flow, you replace fear with curiosity and openness. Pushing against life's natural flow often blinds you to the opportunities and lessons present in the moment. Forcing locks your focus on a specific outcome, narrowing your perspective and creating a sense of scarcity. Letting go expands your awareness, revealing paths you might have overlooked. This openness doesn't mean you stop striving. It means your striving is guided by wisdom and presence, making your efforts more effective. The need to force often comes from comparing yourself to others or adhering to societal expectations. These external pressures create a sense of urgency, as if you must achieve certain milestones to validate your worth. But when you force yourself to meet these expectations, you lose touch with your authentic path. By releasing the need to prove yourself, you reconnect with what truly matters, aligning your actions with your values rather than external judgments. Forcing also creates a cycle of resistance, where the more you push, the more obstacles arise. This resistance depletes your energy, leaving you frustrated and drained. Letting go breaks this cycle, allowing energy to flow naturally. Instead of fighting against challenges, you learn to navigate them with grace, conserving your strength for what truly requires your attention. The practice of letting go fosters a sense of trust, not blind trust in outcomes, but trust in your ability to navigate whatever arises. This trust strengthens your resilience, as you no longer feel the need to control every detail. It frees you to focus on the present moment, where your actions have the most power and impact. By anchoring yourself in the now, you engage with life more fully, without the distraction of forcing outcomes. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on goals or dreams. It means pursuing them with an open mind and a flexible heart. This openness allows you to adapt to life's unpredictability, finding alternative paths when obstacles arise. It transforms setbacks into opportunities for growth, as you learn to see challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones. The process of letting go also deepens your connection to yourself. Forcing often disconnects you from your inner wisdom as you prioritize external validation or outcomes over your intuition. By releasing this need to force, you create space to listen to your inner guidance, aligning your actions with your true desires and needs. This alignment fosters a sense of peace and fulfillment that cannot be achieved through external striving alone. Compassion is integral to the practice of letting go. Forcing often involves harshness toward yourself, others, or the situation at hand. Letting go replaces this harshness with kindness, allowing you to approach challenges with patience and understanding. Compassion softens the need to control, reminding you that perfection is neither possible nor necessary. It creates a nurturing environment where growth can occur naturally, without the pressure of forcing. The art of letting go also transforms your relationship with time. Forcing often creates a sense of urgency, as if everything must happen now. Letting go teaches you to embrace the rhythm of life, understanding that timing is not always within your control. This shift reduces stress, allowing you to engage with each moment fully rather than rushing through it. By aligning with life's natural pace, you create space for joy and ease to enter. Gratitude plays a key role in this practice. Forcing often stems from a sense of lack, as if what you have is not enough. Gratitude shifts this perspective, helping you focus on the abundance already present in your life. This mindset reduces the compulsion to force, as you realize that contentment comes not from achieving more, but from appreciating what is. Gratitude fosters a sense of sufficiency, grounding you in the present moment. Letting go also enhances your ability to handle uncertainty. Forcing often arises from a fear of the unknown, as if controlling outcomes will provide security. Yet, life's unpredictability is unavoidable. By learning to embrace uncertainty, you cultivate a sense of freedom and adaptability. This acceptance doesn't eliminate challenges, but transforms how you experience them, allowing you to move through life with greater ease and confidence. The Zen story reminds us that life unfolds in its own time and way. Forcing disrupts this flow, creating resistance and tension. Letting go invites harmony, aligning your actions with the natural rhythm of existence. This practice is not about surrendering your dreams or ambitions, but about approaching them with patience, trust, and presence. It's a way of living that frees you from the burden of control, allowing you to engage with life's challenges and opportunities with clarity, resilience, and joy. By releasing the need to force, you discover a peace that arises not from external achievements, but from within. Letting go of the need to force outcomes fosters harmony and inner peace. Yet one of the greatest obstacles to this freedom is the endless cycle of overthinking. The mind, left unchecked, often loops through worries, regrets, and imagined scenarios, creating a web of confusion and emotional exhaustion. Overthinking can feel like a storm that grows louder with every thought, but Buddhist teachings offer a path to quiet the noise, providing clarity and serenity through understanding and practice. Overthinking arises from a need for certainty. The mind craves control over outcomes, and when answers are unclear, it compensates by replaying situations or inventing possibilities. This habit creates the illusion of productivity, as if thinking longer or harder will solve the problem. Yet, overthinking rarely provides clarity. Instead, it deepens doubt and anxiety. The first step in stopping this cycle is recognizing when it begins. Awareness shines a light on the mind's tendency to spiral, breaking its momentum and allowing space for reflection. The Buddhist story of two monks crossing a river illustrates the weight of unnecessary mental burdens. After carrying a woman across the water, one monk released the experience and moved on, while the other continued to dwell on it, burdened by his thoughts. This tale highlights the importance of letting go. Overthinking is often the result of clinging, holding on to past actions, perceived mistakes, or future fears. Releasing these attachments lightens the mind, allowing it to focus on the present. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for quieting an overactive mind. By anchoring attention to the present moment, mindfulness interrupts the flow of repetitive thoughts. This practice doesn't require elaborate rituals. Even simple actions, like focusing on your breath or engaging fully with your surroundings, bring the mind back from its wanderings. Each moment of mindfulness strengthens your ability to observe thoughts without becoming entangled in them. The practice of non-judgmental awareness enhances mindfulness. Overthinking often carries a critical tone, replaying situations with blame or regret. Non-judgmental awareness allows you to see thoughts as they are, temporary and neutral. By observing them without attaching labels or emotions, you reduce their power over your state of mind. This perspective creates a sense of detachment, freeing you from the grip of overthinking. Gratitude offers another way to disrupt the cycle of overthinking. Dwelling on what's lacking or uncertain feeds mental loops, while focusing on what's present and abundant redirects the mind toward positivity. Gratitude grounds you in the moment, reminding you of the stability and resources already within your reach. This shift reduces the urgency of overthinking, as it highlights the sufficiency of what already exists. The need for perfection often fuels overthinking. The belief that every decision or action must be flawless creates pressure that magnifies uncertainty. Accepting imperfection as a natural part of life eases this tension. Buddhist teachings emphasize the value of effort over outcome, encouraging you to focus on doing your best without attaching to specific results. This mindset releases the fear of failure, allowing you to move forward without hesitation. Compassion for yourself is essential in overcoming overthinking. The mind's critical voice often magnifies doubts, turning small concerns into significant sources of stress. By treating yourself with kindness, you soften this inner dialogue, reducing its intensity. Compassion creates a supportive mental environment where thoughts can arise and pass without causing harm. This practice builds resilience, helping you approach challenges with a calm and centered mind. Simplifying your focus reduces mental clutter. Overthinking thrives on complexity, as the mind tries to juggle multiple concerns at once. Prioritizing what truly matters narrows your attention, making it easier to address issues effectively. This clarity doesn't ignore challenges, but organizes them into manageable steps, preventing the overwhelm that feeds overthinking. The practice of acceptance also plays a crucial role. Overthinking often arises from resistance, a refusal to accept uncertainty, change, or past events. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality without fighting it. This approach reduces the friction that fuels overthinking, allowing the mind to rest in the present. By embracing what is, you free yourself from the endless loop of what could or should be. Physical grounding techniques complement these mental practices. Overthinking often disconnects you from your body, as thoughts pull your attention inward. Engaging in activities like walking, yoga, or deep breathing reconnects you to the physical world, anchoring you in the here and now. This connection calms the mind, creating space for clarity and insight. Overthinking also diminishes when you align your actions with your values. The mind's loops often stem from a misalignment between your goals and your behavior. Reflecting on your core principles provides direction, reducing the uncertainty that fuels overthinking. Acting in harmony with your values creates a sense of integrity, allowing the mind to quiet as it finds alignment. Journaling can be a powerful way to release overthinking. Writing down your thoughts externalizes them, creating distance and perspective. This practice helps you identify patterns, clarify concerns, and prioritize solutions. Journaling isn't about solving every problem, but about clearing the mental clutter that clouds your mind. It provides a space to process emotions and release unnecessary worries. Setting boundaries with yourself is another effective strategy. Overthinking often blurs the line between productive reflection and mental noise. Creating specific times for decision-making or problem-solving prevents the mind from wandering aimlessly. By establishing clear boundaries, you train your mind to focus intentionally rather than habitually dwelling on concerns. Connecting with others also helps quiet an overactive mind. Sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend or mentor provides perspective and support. Conversations often reveal insights that the mind overlooks when trapped in its loops. The act of sharing also reduces the isolation that overthinking creates, reminding you of the collective nature of human experience. Patience is key to overcoming overthinking. The mind often seeks immediate answers, driving itself into exhaustion when clarity doesn't come quickly. Patience teaches you to trust the process, allowing solutions to unfold naturally. This trust doesn't eliminate effort, but aligns it with the rhythm of life, reducing the urgency that fuels overthinking. Meditation provides a structured way to practice many of these principles. By dedicating time to stillness and focus, meditation trains the mind to observe thoughts without attachment. This practice strengthens your ability to navigate mental noise, creating a lasting sense of calm and clarity. Meditation isn't about stopping thoughts, but about changing your relationship with them, allowing you to move through life with greater ease. Overthinking often thrives on fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, of missing an opportunity, or of facing judgment. Buddhist teachings emphasize the impermanence of all things, reminding you that even the most daunting situations will pass. This perspective reduces the weight of decisions and concerns, allowing you to approach them with confidence and peace. The journey to quiet the mind is not about eliminating thought, but about cultivating harmony within it. Each practice, whether mindfulness, gratitude, or acceptance, builds a foundation of clarity and resilience. Over time, these habits transform your relationship with your mind, freeing you from the cycles of overthinking and allowing you to live with presence, purpose, and joy. Overthinking clouds the mind, often leading us to misinterpret our intentions, even in acts of kindness. Helping others is seen as one of the most virtuous pursuits, a cornerstone of compassion and connection. Yet, there is an overlooked complexity to this noble act, a shadow side that can harm both the giver and the receiver when approached without wisdom. Buddhist teachings offer profound insights into this delicate balance, revealing how even the best intentions can lead to unintended consequences. The desire to help often stems from empathy and a genuine wish to alleviate suffering. However, when this desire becomes entangled with attachment, it can lead to burnout, resentment, or even enablement. Attachment to outcomes, whether in the form of gratitude, validation, or the hope of fixing someone's life, creates tension. This tension not only diminishes the joy of giving, but also risks placing undue pressure on the person receiving help. Helping others can sometimes blur the boundaries of self-care. When the needs of others consistently take precedence over your own, it depletes your energy and emotional reserves. This depletion isn't sustainable, and over time, it fosters frustration or exhaustion. Buddhist teachings emphasize balance, reminding us that serving others should not come at the cost of neglecting ourselves. True compassion includes self-compassion, ensuring that your giving is rooted in strength rather than sacrifice. Another hidden risk is the creation of dependency. When assistance is given without discernment, it can unintentionally hinder the growth or autonomy of the recipient. Consistently solving someone's problems for them may prevent them from developing the resilience or skills needed to navigate challenges on their own. This dynamic not only undermines their confidence, but also creates a cycle of reliance that can strain the relationship. Helping others can also lead to unintended harm when it comes from a place of ego. If the act of giving is motivated by a need to feel important, admired, or indispensable, it shifts the focus away from the recipient's well-being. This approach risks becoming performative, where the act serves the giver's desires rather than addressing the actual needs of the other person. Buddhist philosophy encourages humility and mindfulness, ensuring that acts of kindness are genuine and free from self-centered motives. Misunderstanding another person's true needs can also lead to harm. Well-intentioned help, when offered without listening or understanding, may address superficial concerns while ignoring deeper issues. This approach risks perpetuating the problem or creating new challenges. Practicing mindful awareness ensures that your efforts are aligned with what the person truly requires, fostering a deeper connection and meaningful impact. There is also a subtle danger in over-identifying with another person's pain. Empathy is a powerful force, but when it crosses into over-identification, it can lead to emotional entanglement and overwhelm. Carrying another's burden as if it were your own not only drains your energy, but also diminishes your ability to offer effective support. Maintaining a compassionate detachment allows you to remain present and supportive without losing yourself in the process. Helping others can sometimes provoke resistance or resentment, particularly if the assistance feels imposed. Even with good intentions, unsolicited advice or intervention can be perceived as intrusive or judgmental. This dynamic can strain relationships, creating tension where there was none. Mindful communication and mutual respect ensure that help is offered in a way that honors the other person's autonomy and dignity. A less obvious but equally significant risk is the tendency to avoid addressing your own struggles by focusing on others. Helping can become a distraction, a way to avoid facing personal challenges or emotions. While service can be healing, it should not serve as an escape. Buddhist teachings encourage balance, where serving others complements, rather than replaces, self-reflection and growth. The ripple effects of helping without boundaries can extend beyond the immediate relationship. Overcommitting to others often leads to neglecting other responsibilities or connections. This imbalance can strain friendships, family dynamics, or professional obligations, creating unintended consequences that ripple outward. Setting clear boundaries ensures that your generosity doesn't come at the expense of other important aspects of your life. Perhaps the most surprising harm lies in the subtle expectations that often accompany help. Whether consciously or unconsciously, the giver may anticipate recognition, reciprocation, or specific outcomes. When these expectations are unmet, it can lead to disappointment, frustration, or feelings of being unappreciated. Buddhist teachings remind us to give freely, without attachment to results or acknowledgement, cultivating a spirit of true generosity. Navigating the complexities of helping requires mindfulness and self-awareness. It's not about withholding support, but offering it with wisdom and intention, asking reflective questions such as, am I helping to truly serve or to feel needed? Or is my assistance empowering or enabling? Provides clarity. This self-inquiry ensures that your actions are aligned with your values and the well-being of those you seek to help. Learning to balance compassion with discernment transforms the way you approach service. Discernment allows you to assess the situation clearly, understanding when to step in and when to step back. This balance doesn't diminish the value of giving, it enhances it, ensuring that your actions are meaningful and sustainable. By cultivating this balance, you create a foundation for genuine connection and mutual growth. Helping others is one of the most profound expressions of humanity, but it requires a foundation of inner strength and clarity. By recognizing and addressing the potential pitfalls, you transform your acts of kindness into powerful tools for healing and connection. These lessons from Buddhist teachings guide you to serve with intention, wisdom, and a deep respect for the complexity of human relationships, creating a cycle of compassion that uplifts both giver and receiver. The complexities of helping others reveal a deeper truth about life's rhythm. Everything has its time. When we push against this natural flow, whether through impatience or excessive striving, we disrupt our inner peace. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that peace emerges not from controlling life, but from trusting its timing. This profound understanding opens a door to living with balance, clarity, and contentment. Trusting in the natural flow of life begins with letting go of the need for immediate results. Impatience arises from the desire to force outcomes, as if effort alone could guarantee success. However, life operates on its own schedule, often beyond our understanding or control. When you embrace this truth, you release the tension of constant striving. Instead of fixating on what hasn't happened yet, you focus on the journey itself, finding fulfillment in each step rather than waiting for a distant destination. This perspective doesn't mean abandoning goals or ambition. It means aligning your actions with the rhythm of life rather than fighting against it. When you trust that everything comes in due time, you create space for patience and clarity. This trust doesn't eliminate challenges, but transforms how you experience them. Obstacles become opportunities for growth, teaching you lessons that prepare you for what lies ahead. One of the core principles of Buddhist wisdom is impermanence. Nothing in life is static. Everything is in a state of change and evolution. When you resist this reality, clinging to what was, or rushing toward what could be, you create suffering. Accepting impermanence allows you to flow with life's changes, understanding that both joys and sorrows are temporary. This awareness fosters peace, as it teaches you to cherish the present moment without fear or regret. Patience is a natural extension of this understanding. It's the ability to remain calm and centered, even when results aren't immediate or visible. Patience teaches you to trust the process, recognizing that progress often unfolds in subtle, unseen ways. This trust reduces anxiety, as you no longer feel the need to control every aspect of life. Instead, you focus on what you can do in the present, knowing that the seeds you plant today will bloom in their own time. Gratitude deepens this trust. When you focus on what you already have, rather than what you lack, you shift your perspective from scarcity to abundance. This mindset reduces the urgency of wanting more, allowing you to appreciate the present fully. Gratitude grounds you in the moment, reminding you that peace isn't found in chasing future outcomes, but in recognizing the beauty of now. The practice of mindfulness strengthens your ability to live in alignment with life's timing. By bringing your attention to the present, mindfulness quiets the mind's tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. It teaches you to engage fully with each moment, finding clarity and contentment in the here and now. This presence creates a sense of balance, as you're no longer pulled in multiple directions by competing thoughts and desires. Non-attachment is another key to living in harmony with life's flow. Attachment to specific outcomes creates tension as it ties your happiness to external circumstances. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference. It means engaging with life without clinging to results. This mindset frees you from the fear of loss or failure, allowing you to act with courage and authenticity. By releasing the need to control, you open yourself to the possibilities that life has to offer. Compassion, both for yourself and others, is integral to this journey. The process of growth and change can be challenging, and it's easy to become frustrated with yourself or others when progress feels slow. Compassion softens this frustration, reminding you that everyone is navigating their own path in their own time. This understanding fosters patience and empathy, creating a sense of connection and support. Trusting life's timing also involves embracing uncertainty. The desire for control often stems from a fear of the unknown, as if certainty could provide security. Yet, life's beauty lies in its unpredictability, where the unexpected often brings the most profound lessons and joys. By accepting uncertainty, you cultivate a sense of freedom and adaptability. This acceptance doesn't eliminate challenges, but transforms how you approach them, fostering resilience and peace. Self-awareness deepens your ability to live in harmony with life's flow. Understanding your patterns, triggers, and tendencies provides insight into how you interact with time and change. This awareness helps you recognize when impatience or attachment arises, allowing you to respond with mindfulness rather than reactivity. By aligning your actions with your values and intentions, you create a sense of integrity that strengthens your inner peace. Engaging in reflective practices, such as journaling or meditation, enhances this awareness. Writing down your thoughts or sitting in stillness provides clarity, helping you process emotions and gain perspective. These practices create a space for introspection, allowing you to understand how life's timing has shaped your journey. Reflection often reveals the lessons hidden within challenges, helping you appreciate their role in your growth. The concept of karma reinforces the idea that everything unfolds in its time. Actions create ripple effects, often in ways that aren't immediately visible. Trusting this process means understanding that your efforts contribute to a larger picture, even if the results aren't immediate. This perspective reduces frustration as you recognize that each step you take has value, regardless of the outcome. Letting go of comparison strengthens your ability to trust life's timing. Comparing your journey to others creates unnecessary pressure, as if you must achieve certain milestones to validate your worth. Yet, each person's path is unique, shaped by their experiences, choices, and challenges. By focusing on your own growth rather than measuring yourself against others, you cultivate a sense of authenticity and contentment. Connection with others also enhances your understanding of life's rhythm. Relationships often teach us patience, compassion, and the importance of timing. By listening and engaging with others, you learn to appreciate the interplay between individual journeys and collective experiences. These connections remind you that life's flow isn't solitary, but part of a larger web of interconnectedness. The practice of letting go complements this understanding. Holding on to past grievances or future anxieties creates resistance, as if clinging could provide stability. Letting go allows you to release these burdens, creating space for peace and clarity. This practice doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring challenges, but approaching them with a sense of acceptance and trust. Buddhist wisdom teaches that peace isn't something you achieve but something you uncover by aligning with life's natural flow. Each moment, whether joyful or challenging, contributes to this journey, shaping your understanding and resilience. By trusting that everything comes in due time, you create a life of balance, clarity, and deep fulfillment, where peace isn't dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. Anger is a powerful emotion, but its hold on you doesn't have to be permanent. By exploring its roots, embracing mindfulness, practicing compassion, and trusting the natural flow of life, you've unlocked a path to a calmer, more peaceful existence. Through the teachings of Buddhism, you've learned that anger is not an enemy, but a teacher, guiding you towards self-awareness, patience, and wisdom. Let this journey continue. Reflect on the lessons, apply them daily, and share them with others who might also need a moment of calm in their storm. Anger doesn't define you. It's what you do with it that shapes your life. If this resonated with you, share your favorite insight in the comments. How has anger shaped your life? And what steps are you taking to transform it? Your story could inspire someone else to begin their own journey. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join our growing community of seekers and learners. Let's continue exploring the wisdom that makes life richer, one step at a time. Peace begins with understanding, and you're already on the right path. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lesson.